Anna Yilta O Havenda Hesha. Can't you understand me?
No.
More phone calls from the lost and found of free speech.
Outrageous opinion and controversial comment with the dual voltage dream team. The Michaels, Graham and Parry. He's back, is he?
Through the night until dawn's early light.
The two Mikes, Parry and Graham on Talk Sport.
Look at the light! An octopus is so bright they can eat Brussels sprouts because they like them. If there were an octopus in a fish tank and you chuck Brussels sprouts in, they do love Brussels sprouts.
What on earth would you throw Brussels sprouts at an octopus? This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say it's time to say a very, very, very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
And a very good morning to you, Mike. And as Gary Lineker once said, what happens when we play Germany is that the game goes on for 90 minutes and then the Germans win.
Well, it hasn't always been that way, but I mean, it's a fair enough remark.
Largely has been for the last sort of 45 years.
Don't forget that great performance with Emil Heskey in Munich when England won it, 4-5-0, wasn't it?
5-1, I was there.
5-1.
Yeah, I was standing on the terraces with the England fans, actually.
Were you?
Yeah, and it was a spectacular night. Who else scored? Michael Owen scored. Stephen Gerrard scored. And Emil Heskey, as I quite rightly say. And I drank champagne with Alvin Martin.
I thought you didn't drink champagne.
Well, I did on that night. Hang
on, you said you can't drink champagne, it's bad for your heart.
It was before my heart went. It was in 2002, was it? Or 3, something like that.
Are you sure?
Yes, certain. It was definitely between 2004.
I thought your heart went before that.
No, my heart went in 2004.
Did it?
In Lisbon, Lisboa, during the European Championships.
Okay.
But no, I mean, that was the last time. And Sven had only just been appointed, so we thought Sven was the Sven Garley, you know what I mean?
Sven Garley.
We thought, crikey, if Sven can bring an England team to Germany, you know, the world powerhouse of football.
Did it just turn out to be a blip then?
Yeah, it did turn out to be a blip because they later beat us in the same competition.
People actually now say that was the beginning of Germany, and they're at the end of that journey, which started then, after England defeated them, was when they won the World Cup in Brazil.
It was.
Because it was then when they said, right, we're not going to let this happen again.
Yeah, that's right. And you've got to remember, the previous time we played Germany was when they beat us 1-0 at Wembley.
Yes.
Dieter Hamann scored that free kick from about 87 yards out. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You know, just strolled up and hit it, and the England defence was still talking to each other. And Kevin Keegan then retired to the men's loo in the dressing room and resigned. and then
resigned in the tunnel, didn't he?
Well, no, he went down the tunnel. The dressing room's in the old Wembley. But at the bottom, on the right, was the England dressing room. He went in there, locked himself in the loos, and
But did he not come out and then resign in the tunnel? That's what I thought the famous line was.
No, he resigned in there. He got on the phone and rang, the powers that be, and said, "I've had enough."
Okay.
And it was David Davis then who actually put forward, first of all, the name of Sven Göran Eriksson, and called him up, and within 24 hours he was on the plane to England. He was very keen to come.
I'm sure he was.
With the beautiful Nancy Delolio.
I'm sure, particularly when they said they were going to load him down with about £5 million.
Yeah, she was hot in his heels, don't worry about that. And, of course, 5 million quid became 6 million quid, and 6 million quid became another 5 million quid the following year. And Sven did a brilliant job for us.
I mean, he's got a much better record than an awful lot of England managers.
Absolutely. Every tournament, we got to the quarters, and then Portugal would knock us out on penalties.
Yeah.
But in every tournament, we usually get smacked up by Germany. But no, on that night in Munich, Alvin and I went back to the hotel. It was a really nice hotel as well.
Was it?
We treated ourselves to a nice hotel, and
that's not usual, is it, working for TalkSport?
Yeah, it was actually. No, to be perfectly honest, we don't. We're not bad like that. We don't scrimp really on those things because we realise that we have a position in life.
No, but you normally were in sort of a shack with a load of other people, wouldn't you?
Well, no. If we go to a tournament and you're there 4 or 5 weeks, then quite rightly you have to observe the rules of sort of mass occupation of a city. And you can't all have a suite in a hotel. But on this occasion, we were there 2 nights because it was a friendly.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was
I'm really pleased about
a qualifier for the World Cup.
The thing I'm really pleased about, once again, is that you're telling us all about your experience at the game, which we're talking about, which happened to very many.
Well, how other way can I tell it?
Well, you can
Why don't you tell us about your experience at England-Germany games?
I wasn't there.
Well, tell us about your experience at any England-Germany.
I haven't been to any England-Germany games.
You haven't been to an England-Germany game?
No.
Well, in that case, why are you, blowing steam off about me relating tales about England-Germany games?
I'm just trying to get you to tell the stories.
I've probably been to half a dozen.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just trying to tell you the stories without you filling us in all the details about the hotel that you were in.
Well, how am I supposed to tell the story if I don't put the colour in?
Well, the colour is all about you, though. The colour's not about anybody else.
No.
People are starting to tell me that you're getting too big for your boots, and they're saying to me they have to start slapping you around a bit.
Oh, no.
Since you've become this porky, scratching, multi-million multi-millionaire businessman,
yes,
you started to think you run everything.
No.
That's what people are saying.
You have become the one-trick pony who now starts threatening me and all that kind of stuff.
I'm a one-trick pony. You said this again the other night.
That's right, just to get a few laughs from the audience.
I'm not a one-trick pony, I can assure you.
For instance, would you like me to tell you about the England-Germany game in South Africa when Frank Lampard scored the goal that never was?
No, not really.
Which, in fact, led to goal line technology being introduced into the game in Europe.
Many years later, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind you telling me as many stories as you like, but I just don't want every story you tell to turn into a story about you. Because when I tell stories about something that happened, I tell the story of how something happened as opposed to what I was doing when it happened, where I was staying when it happened, and what happened after it happened to me when I was trying to get away from something that had happened.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Am I supposed then to sort of say, oh, by the way, there was a game in South Africa, it was between England and Germany, and I have information that, without saying, actually, I was there, I saw it happen.
No, I think you should absolutely say you were there.
The despair in Frank Lampard's face. I saw the despair in England.
Well,
we were 2-0 down at the time.
That would be interesting.
Well, it is interesting. I've just told you about it, you see.
Well, that's why I'm having to upbraid you on it, you see, because now you're starting to tell the stories the right way round.
No. I tell the stories that you can't tell because you've never done it.
Well, we've both got stories that the other can't tell, but that doesn't matter. It's not a competition. The point is that for people's listening pleasure, what they want to know about is what you experienced, not
totally agree.
What you were drinking, not who you were with, what happened to you after it happened, and what happened to you before.
I think they do.
No, they don't.
I think that's
they've
common.
had enough of it.
And anyway, as you quite rightly say, we can only tell the stories about each individual experiences we've had.
Indeed.
It so happens that England are playing West Germany. Germany, I keep calling them West Germany.
West Germany.
England are playing Germany tonight, right?
They are.
In Dortmund. And I've been to a few England-Germany games.
Yes.
So that's an experience that I've had that you haven't.
But that's why I asked you to tell me the story.
Now, if we were then to say, I tell you what, look, we all think there's a bit of a danger of another war breaking out in Bosnia, then you could tell a few stories about your failed mission to Bosnia with the Daily Express.
My failed mission?
It was really.
Why was it failed?
Apparently.
Why was it a failed mission?
Well, it didn't go too well, did it?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't want to say too much on
Well, no, why don't you say exactly what you mean?
Well,
let's hear about it.
Well,
what is it you want to say?
I mean, did you uncover many exclusives there? Did you blow the socks off the reading public or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I was in a war zone.
You're in a war zone, yeah.
You don't really go around trying to stitch up your colleagues in a war zone because normally
you're there. Did anybody bomb you?
Did anybody bomb me? No, but there was quite a few bullets fired.
So you didn't get bombed then in a war zone?
People don't get bombed in war zones.
I did. I got bombed in Libya.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. It's a shame they bloody missed you.
That's very nice, isn't it?
I mean, it's such a small target that even the heat-seeking missile unfortunately missed your little head.
Yeah. I got bombed in the Sinai Desert.
Well, you say you got bombed, you see, but the trouble is, because of your now famous reputation... No, almost every story
created
that you tell.
By yourself.
No, every story that you tell.
Fictitious tales that you tell.
Well, no, because every story that you tell has diminished over the years because nobody believes a word of it.
Did you ever meet Martin McGuinness?
I did actually. Yeah,
I did as well.
Yeah, I wasn't a
you
very.
You probably met him in Boston or New York or somewhere.
No, I didn't actually. I met him in Westminster.
Oh right, okay, yeah. I met him in Ireland.
He was not... Well, I mean, that was one of the reasons I was going to ask you about with Martin McGuinness, which we'll do in a second, because that does require some serious thought.
It does,
because you were in Northern Ireland during that time, and I was watching some of the news reports tonight.
Yes.
And what a chilling period of British history that was.
Oh, utterly shocking.
What an absolutely chilling period.
Utterly shocking. When you saw... English boys aged 18 or 19 on the streets of Belfast and Londonderry I think was more dangerous, who walked up the roads with their backs to the walls of the houses, holding an SLR, self-loading rifle, with full protective gear on, not knowing at any minute whether a sniper in a building somewhere was going to shoot them.
And you know they still use that. They still use that formation because
they do.
In fact, when I was in Bosnia, funnily enough, when there was a report that some horrible paramilitaries had come to look for somebody, a journalist actually, they all came out and went into that formation.
That's
it was quite a chilling thing to see.
It's completely chilling. First time I went to Northern Ireland, I flew into Aldergrove, which was then the only airport. They've now got a city one called the George Best Airport. The Aldergrove is a bit of way out. And it was so shocking to be driving late at night, 11 o'clock, you're driving into Belfast along the main route, and all of a sudden, there's a huge battery of lights open up in front of you, the driver stops, and you're surrounded by soldiers with black painted faces, wielding guns, pointing them at you. They're pointing them at the vehicle. And they were checkpoints where they'd stop every 200th vehicle or something like that.
Right.
And a society which you couldn't believe existed within the United Kingdom until you got there. It was absolutely chilling.
It was
You're
awful.
right.
Absolutely awful. We'll come back to that because we've got lots to talk about tonight. We've got Mark Donaldson coming on. He's going to be telling us about the Scottish situation and also some of the other international games that are happening over the course of the next few days. We're going to be talking to our favourite astronaut, Clayton Anderson, about possibly going up to the moon.
Good astronaut, him.
He's a very good astronaut, yeah. There's not many bad astronauts, to be fair. Well, but we would only have a good one on here.
Yes.
He'll tell us about going around the moon because apparently Stephen Hawking's going to go.
Well, he won't, will he?
Well, I mean...
He'd love to, and he's our greatest physicist, but... I mean, practically,
it's a good place
it's going to be another 20 years, isn't it?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, Branson is taking a lot of money from people, so I think it might well be sometime sooner than you think. We shall see.
I very much doubt it.
Anyway, plus it's Ask Porky, so if you've got any problems, got anything you want sorted out, you know what to do. Tweet us at The Two Mics. Look for us on Facebook. This is TalkSport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on TalkSport and Talk Radio.
This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mics, and of course, there's lots coming up in the rest of the week as well. We've got to figure out what we're going to do the Porky quiz on.
I've figured it.
Oh, have you?
Yep.
Well,
and actually, it hit me in the face.
Did it?
Well, it didn't literally hit me in the face.
Not literally.
As some people think that you should be doing. I don't know why, but some people have taken to violent tendencies, suggesting that you should physically interject with me. You know what I mean?
Well, it's because you irritate people so much.
I don't irritate people.
When people are irritating, they generally don't know they're irritating.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my frustration is borne out with you. But it's borne out 100-fold with everybody out there who says, I can't believe you haven't lamped him already.
Yeah, well...
We've been working together a long time now.
Yes, but you should, whenever somebody says that, you should reject the idea that problems can be solved with physical violence immediately.
I'm not suggesting a problem can be solved, but it would make me feel a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. I'll tell you what irritates me. I've been watching all day TV pictures of the Scottish Assembly in session. And it is just the biggest nonsensical,
Scottish
expensive...
Parliament, you mean?
Yeah, the Scottish Parliament, yeah.
Don't call it the Scottish Assembly, you'll get loads of people complaining.
Why?
Well, because it's the Scottish Parliament.
It's the Scottish Parliament?
It's the Welsh Assembly.
Oh, I see.
Because they have slightly less powers.
Okay. Yeah, that's
but it
right,
is, in fact, the Scottish Parliament.
It's the Scottish Parliament, then, and it's the biggest, most useless talking shop in the world and the most expensive.
Oh, I don't know about that.
The most expensive.
What about FIFA?
Yeah, FIFA's United Nations.
United Nations.
They all count. They all count.
It's up there.
Hopeless people who don't have a real job just go around talking.
How about the FA?
Because, the FA...
The FA don't do much either.
The FA mean well. Whereas all the guys in the political world all just want to sort of blow their own trumpet. So what I was going to say to you was, now, getting back to Ireland, right?
Yeah.
It was a terrible society, and therefore you have to say that the Good Friday Agreement was a good thing because there is now
for the fighting
to a great
have
extent.
ended.
To a great extent.
Have a look at the front page of the Daily Mail. I mean, that is a powerful front page, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of that going on.
They show the Guildford bombing aftermath in 1974, bloodied victims being let out by police, and they also show Enniskillen, 1987.
And the headline says Martin McGuinness, 1950 to 2017, which is clearly alluding to the fact that he was involved in the planning and the execution of both of those events.
Yes, that's right. I mean, for instance, people like Gerry Adams have never admitted and have always defended themselves about being men of violence.
Yeah.
Gerry Adams has been a lifelong member of Sinn Féin and, a very significant member of that, but has often been accused of being involved in violence as a member of the IRA.
Yeah.
It has never been proven. And he has always
he's always tried to distance himself.
Yes, he always refused to get involed in the.
But you and I would have both spoken to people who have been in that business.
Well,
over the course of time.
I worked in Ireland for about 12 months, and I was there and back another 6 months, about 18 months altogether. And I was based in Manchester. And I mean, the idea that Gerry Adams wasn't aware of what was going on in terms of violence from the side of the Republicans is just a joke. It has to be a joke because he was the mainstay of the whole movement. Same with Martin McGuinness. I mean, things that make your blood chill. When the hunger strikers were dying, I think I've told you before, the way they communicated was by banging dustbin lids on the pavements and on the Divies estate, which was behind the Europa Hotel where most of the journalists stayed. So we actually knew that a hunger striker had died sometimes before the authorities because it came on the Bush Telegraph before the information was released from Long Kesh, and that sort of thing meant that there was a quite distinctive second rule of law within the whole province. You see what I mean? mean?
Right.
Now, I think the first hunger strike course was Bobby Sands, very famous sort of iconic martyr now amongst the Republican community. I think the second one, I'm not going to say his name because I'm not sure what it was, but I think his first name was Francis, right? Now, when he died, his parents invited us all up to their farmhouse in, down in South Armagh. And his body was lying in state in the lounge of his home. And we were invited to file past his body. And they saw this as English people sort of paying homage to their son who had died in the hunger strikes.
But you were the representatives of the Crown in a way, weren't you?
Yeah, we were.
Because you were the British press.
Absolutely.
Who were not really in any way sympathetic to the IRA cause.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I mean, the point is, nobody was going to refuse because this was a very historical moment, in British historical political shenanigans and negotiations. But the interesting thing was, I remember filing past his coffin and he had a card pinned on his chest. And as he died of starvation because he was a hunger striker, he was naturally a very shallow human being, if you see what I mean, in terms of he had lost 6 or 8 stone or something like that. And the card on his chest said, "Holy Mother of Mary, forgive me for my sins." Yeah. And at each end of the coffin was an armed guard, i.e. a paramilitary figure with a balaclava, an army uniform, and a rifle. Yeah. Which would not be allowed anywhere else in the United Kingdom. No. But the point was that if the RUC had then stormed in to seize the weapons, which were illegally held, a huge riot would have happened. Yeah. And so there had to be some form of give-and-take procedure in the way that policing happened in Northern Ireland and the way that the Republican movement behaved and represented themselves.
I mean, Martin McGuinness was arrested more than once. He was in prison for 6 months. He refused to give the names up of any of the people that he was with. He made no secret of the fact that he was basically the second in command of the IRA in Belfast, and he was at war as far as he was concerned. It was an extraordinary period, as I say. It was just an incredible time for people who didn't live through it. They wouldn't have believed it. I mean, watching the footage of Bloody Sunday and all of that stuff. I mean, you just think, wow, how could that have even happened on these islands?
Imagine going to a funeral, right, in this country where at the last moment before the coffin goes into the church, the coffin is suddenly diverted to the right of the church and put on a trestle, and then 6 men emerge from the trees at the edge of the cemetery with rifles, stand over the coffin and fire their guns 3 times, and then disappear into the crowd. The police rush into the church. The helicopter that's flying overhead with the cameras to spot them can't find them because women have come to the funeral deliberately with umbrellas to put the umbrellas up the minute that the gunmen have finished firing, so that they form a roof over the whole of the church and the car park surrounding it, so that the gunmen can make their escape without being seen by the cameras or the spotters in the helicopters above. Yeah. I mean, it was that sort of thing, you know.
It was an incredible time.
And I've been to funerals where Martin McGuinness had attended, and that had happened. Yeah. Almost like he'd orchestrated the salute, you know.
Sure. And I mean, lots of people died on both sides of the conflict, and watching the body being taken into Free Derry tonight as well, where you get an awful lot of the people who are on his side saying that he was a man of great principle, that he stood up for this, that and the other. And Norman Tebbett's comments earlier on in the day where he said, he should rot in hell, he was a terrorist, he was a coward.
Well, Norman Tebbett's wife carried for decades the wounds of an IRA bombing. Yeah. She was nearly killed in the attack on the Brighton Hotel.
Looking at all the pictures, I mean, I guess it's just... I have to keep saying the word chilling. Yes. Just because I remember all this. 1982, the barracks being blown up in Hyde Park and all the horses dead, the Mountbatten assassination, 1979. Enniskillen, as you say, in 1987. 1988, soldiers killed as a landmine detonated in Ballygawley. Yeah. Just the Brighton bombing, just a remarkable time.
I went to the Mountbatten killing. It was in a place called Mullaghmore, which is just outside Sligo, on the other side of Ireland, on the west coast. And again, it was a remarkable story because the bombers were caught. Well, when I say the bombers, one bomber was convicted, and another chap who Tommy McMahon, I think, was the bomber who was convicted and served a long sentence. The chap who was with him was acquitted. Yeah. But funnily enough, in an amazing sort of twist of fate, the chap who got off was a farmer's son who later died when his tractor rolled over on top of him when he was ploughing a field on his father's farm on a slope. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's amazing stuff. But one of them who was apprehended gave himself away by saying, "I never put no bomb on no boat."
Yeah.
Before the police had actually told him why they'd arrested him.
And nobody really knew what had happened.
No, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
It was all, you know, it was honestly, it was a black tale of mystery, intrigue, murder, deception, cruelty, you name it. It all went on. I always used to say, the thing about Northern Ireland in those days was there was not a lot of black and white. There was just 1,000 shades of grey,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Luke says this. It was Francis Hughes, I think you'd be talking about.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
And he says, when will you be coming over to the north? How about this from James? He says, being from Lifford, County Donegal, journeys to Strabane and Derry were always filled with trepidation. Yeah. Thank God times have changed. And I think whatever anybody thinks about McGuinness, and, you know, somebody tweeted earlier in the day and said, I hope there's not really eulogies about Martin McGuinness being a man of peace. Certainly the fact that peace broke out is more important, really, than anything else.
Yeah,
because
I suppose so.
When you think back to the times you were there, how dangerous it was, how many people on the mainland lost their lives as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just glad it's not like that anymore.
Well, the most remarkable image for me, one of the most remarkable images of my life in journalism, having explained to you where I was, you know, when the Troubles were on, the hunger strikes and all that, was the first time I saw the Reverend Ian Paisley and Martin McGuinness sitting next to each other and smiling and talking. I could not believe that because not only was Martin McGuinness, you know, a very, very rabid Republican who certainly supported the campaign of violence against the British without a shadow of a doubt.
No question.
You know, to what extent he was involved is for other people to say, but he undoubtedly supported it. And for the Reverend Ian Paisley, who so loathed and hated the Republican side, that I used to go to, you know, I've told you before, we used to go to the sermons in his church, and he would stand up there, and he was so, I mean, you know, so damnation to the Republican movement, I am telling you, you know, no surrender, and all that. And to see the two of them sitting there and actually smiling, chanting, I could not believe it. So I had to accept then that if the Reverend Ian Paisley could talk to Martin McGuinness, and Martin McGuinness could talk to Reverend Ian Paisley, that actually I should accept, and so should everybody else, that this is a compromise that the world can live with, you know?
Sure, exactly. Exactly right. We'll talk some more about that because the papers have got an awful lot of coverage on it this morning. Lots of it worth reading and lots of it worth looking at, particularly if you can't remember what happened in those days. Lots more for us to do as well. A couple of points for you about your talking shop scenario. Weed says, I think Mr. Parry would give the Scottish Parliament a good run for its money for the biggest useless talking shop. Well, I think that's a bit
very
harsh,
nice, isn't it?
Because I think after that conversation you've just given us there, I think that's one of the reasons why people like to listen to
Well,
your
let me put this to that correspondent, right? If we put on a show in Glasgow, a fair few hundred people turn up, sometimes thousands, OK?
Exactly.
If they opened the doors of the Scottish Parliament and said, today it is free for you all to come and be entertained by the Scottish Parliament, how many people would turn up?
None.
None. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. This is Talk Sport.
It's a wonderful night, gotta take it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down. It's a wonderful night, gotta shake it from me. It's a wonderful night, come on and break it on down. It's a wonderful
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Lots more coming up. So as far as the Porky quiz is concerned,
yes,
you didn't quite get to what it was that you said it was going to be.
No, because you so rudely interrupted me
I
again.
did not rudely interrupt you.
It's going to be the Masters Golf Competition.
The Masters Golf Competition?
It starts on Thursday.
Don't you think you're a bit early for that?
No.
You sure it starts on Thursday?
Yeah, it starts this Thursday, doesn't it?
Does it?
Doesn't it?
I thought it was the one following week.
Wait a minute.
Well, we can ask Mark Dawson about that because he's the expert. He usually covers the Masters.
I'm sure I usually get my facts right here. Hang on.
No, you don't always get your facts right.
Yeah. Listen. I mean, this is an outrageous slur on my.
Well, it's not an outrageous slur. I just want to make sure that you've got it right. Do you want me to double check it for you?
We will double check it. But I think you'll find that I've got it absolutely spot on.
Well, here we go. The PGA Tour tournament schedule I have in front of me.
Yes.
Which is about to make itself available. The Puerto Rico Open, which is March 23rd to 26th. March the 30th to April the 2nd, the Shell Houston Open, which would tend to suggest the Masters is not until a little bit later.
What do you mean?
Well, the Houston Open is before the Masters,
when's the Masters?
Well, March the 30th till April. It's usually sometime in April, isn't it?
Well, hang on. Find out the date. I thought you were finding out the date.
Well, I will find out the date, but I've got to now go all the way through the schedule to find it.
Why? No, you haven't, because it's either this week or next. and I'm thinking that we should do it this week because that gives us a
April
good
the 6th,
week straight.
April the 6th to the 9th.
April the 6th to the 9th, there you go.
Yeah.
April the 6th to the 9th.
So that's not next week.
Of course it's not next week.
You said it was next week.
No.
So you still want to do the Masters golf competition 2 weeks early?
Well, it was just a thought. Have you got a better thought?
Well,
if you've got a better thought, let me know.
I can always give you a better thought. But, I mean, lately, once again, you've been asking for quizzes on the subjects that you want to do the quizzes on, as opposed to, things that we've discussed.
Yes,
I'm quite happy to do the Masters. Somebody said to me the other day on Twitter that, well, why don't we do it on the East India Company, given you're such an expert on the East India Company.
I think we did, didn't we?
We've never done an East India Company
I thought we had.
quiz, I don't think.
Well, let's
do the Masters then, because
I think
it'll get us into... well, the only other one we could do this week, because it's actually a more timely start of the season, is Formula One. Because Formula One, the Australian Grand Prix gets underway this weekend.
I think we've done that, haven't we, Formula One?
We've probably done it, yeah. You'd rather do the... We do the Masters,
I think we do the Masters. I think it's perfect timing, 2 weeks ahead of the actual tournament itself, okay?
Yes, okay.
Which starts 2 weeks now tomorrow, 2 weeks Thursday.
Now, I seem to remember the Masters was on last year when we went to Manchester to do a show, wasn't it? Because we went into that betting shop and bet on the Grand National. And then the Masters was also on.
That's right.
That weekend.
What was that place called? The Talk of the Town or something? Dance House.
The Dance
House. The Dance House. That's the one. Yes. It could have been.
It could have been. Well, no, it was.
It was it? Okay.
It absolutely was.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for that, and that, again, is another steer towards why we should be doing it, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Steve says this, MG is only there to inform Porky of the time and introduce guests and read out the tweets, or Porky reads out the same one sometimes.
Yes, I do sometimes, But
Ryan says, Porky's Scottish accent sounds a lot like an attempt of a Russian one.
Yeah, well, they do tend to merge with each other. We're in a multicultural world, remember that, please, okay?
Yes, and Belfast Billy says, what is Brendan Rodgers doing in Paisley's church?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very similar, obviously. They come from the same part of the world. But Paisley was one of the most oratorical and bombastic speakers, I think, that most of us have encountered in public life.
Yes, quite. Yeah, Giffgaff says, will Porky be reviewing the Scottish Bounty Hunter BBC documentary? Fascinating insight into the 28-year-old Scot who made good in the United States. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Sounds like a documentary about a guy who is actually a bounty hunter.
Yeah, it does, actually, yeah. And bounty hunters don't really interest me.
Don't they?
I always found...
Well, I thought it was the sort of thing you'd like to do.
No. Going
Why
around...
would you not fancy being a bounty hunter?
Well, I watched all the Clint Eastwood films, Hang 'em High.
Well, it's not like that now.
No, but in those days, I thought, what a terrible profession, going around shooting people dead and then strapping them to horses and then... that's
well, yeah, but they don't do that now.
No, they used to, and bounty hunting has got a terrible reputation. So you shoot the bloke dead and you strap him to a horse, and then for the next 2 days you gallop through the Arizona desert with the dead bloke strapped to a horse.
Well, now it's more likely to be about a guy who's jumped bail,
and then
who's been given bail and hasn't turned up for his hearing.
Yeah, okay.
So then the court sends you out because the guy who posted the bail, he then doesn't want to lose the money.
Yeah.
So he then sends the bounty hunter out to get the guy and bring him back. So you don't get to shoot him; you have to bring him back alive.
Okay, and then you chuck his body down on the porch of the sheriff's office, in the town that you go into.
Yeah.
And you collect your
30 pieces of silver.
Well, it's usually like $50 or $100 or something like that, isn't it? And then you go off and find somebody else to shoot. No, it wasn't a job for me.
All right.
And also, I always thought if you were hunting somebody and that somebody knew you were coming after them, they'd probably lie in wait and shoot you first anyway.
Well, that's why bounty hunting was quite a difficult job.
Quite a difficult, dangerous
people like
job.
Clint Eastwood are very good at it because they were better at shooting than anybody else.
Yeah, that's right. They were.
That was only the spaghetti western. So,
do you remember the first Clint Eastwood one when? He had the cheroot in his mouth,
What was the first one? Because we've done quizzes on this as well.
The first one was a fistful of dollars.
Fistful of dollars.
Yeah,
and then a few dollars more.
But in the fistful of dollars, he rode around on the ass, didn't he, or the donkey, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And he said, my ass don't like you laughing at him. And then,
but he also had that metal plate, didn't he?
Yeah,
remember the metal plate underneath the poncho.
But then he walked past the undertaker, didn't he, on his way down to sort out one of the gangs and said, you better get 3 coffins ready. And then he goes and blows them all away in 5 seconds, walks past and says, my mistake, 4 coffins.
Very good films they were, I have to say.
Excellent.
Now, people are always concerned about your welfare, as you know.
Oh, yes?
I've had a tweet alerting me to a story in Southwark, which is where we are right now, because emergency services were called to a property near Tooley Street. This is apropos Postman Pork.
Tooley Street is very near to London Bridge.
Very near to London Bridge, because a letter was received by a business there containing an unknown substance.
Oh, yes.
So you want to be careful about...
What sort of unknown substance?
Well, it was later proved to be non-suspicious.
Well, exactly. I
but,
mean,
you know,
people don't panic in this. A bit of white powder, was it?
Well, hang on. You alerted the cops when you got white powder sent to you years ago here.
Yeah, well, that was only because...
You had the place, closed down. The street was closed off.
Well, TalkSport management insisted on it.
It turned out to be a load of old rubbish.
It did, yeah. It was about talcom powder or something like that. I told them I didn't want to make a fuss,
No, I'm told that you didn't exactly
I
want to make a fuss.
laugh in the face of terror.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
How about Anthony? He says, you should test Porky on vinology, please.
Vinology? Do you mean vinology?
Is that vinology? Is that something to do with wine?
Yeah, something to do with the wine, yeah. No, there's no need to worry about that. We've got it sorted now. It will be the Masters competition. That'll tee us up nicely for the competition when it comes round.
Right, good.
Now, can I tell you about a problem that you will never have?
You can. We haven't got a lot of time, though.
Yeah, OK. Well,
maybe... How do you know I'll never have it?
Well, because you know what it is? There's been a new study which has actually identified the fact that good-looking people have terrible lives sometimes.
Really?
Remember that great record by, was it Chicago or Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show? When you're in love with a beautiful woman, don't you know it's hard?
That was Dr. Hook.
Yeah, when you're in love.
I don't think that was what they were singing about, though.
Woman. Don't you know it's hard?
It's not don't you know, it's you know it's hard.
You know it's hard, don't you know it's hard,
it's not don't you know.
Hard.
No.
Yeah, but the thing is, what they're saying is, if you're going out with an extremely beautiful looking woman, and somebody's always going to try...
Well, that's nothing that's ever happened to you, is it?
Well, hang on, this is why I'm saying this probably won't relate to you.
No, but it has happened to me. I've gone out with some very beautiful women.
And somebody's always going to try and steal her off you see. This is the difficulty, OK?
Yeah.
Now, they've also worked out that sometimes, very good-looking people are discriminated against in a terrible way. Women discriminate against better-looking women. Men discriminate against good-looking women sometimes if they don't appear to like them and that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody discriminates against everybody else by the sounds of it.
Yeah,
in one way, shape or form.
And what I'm saying is that it is no joke being extremely attractive in life because it can cause you all sorts of problems.
Uh-huh.
Now, I said, that probably would never have worried you because you'd never have been in that situation.
Well, I tend not to worry about these things either. Anxiety is not something that I suffer from, generally speaking.
Being too beautiful is bad for your love life. A recent report says the high rate of Hollywood divorces, for example, is because people are so good-looking in Hollywood who marry each other that they often have envy problems between themselves as to who's the better looking.
Isn't it more because they are a crowd of narcissistic, self-interested, self-obsessed sort of... maniacs.
Yes, could
be.
Who
can't actually have a proper relationship with anybody else because it's all about them.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's more likely to be the case.
But this, in my research paper that I read on this one, it says researchers found that when good-looking people were shown photographs of people of the opposite sex, they rated them as attractive, which is said to be a relationship-threatening behaviour, suggesting they might be tempted to cheat.
Yes.
So if you ever, as a good-looking person, going out with another good-looking person, if you ever said, oh, doesn't that man over there look handsome in that suit or something, that's the end of the marriage, that's the end of the relationship. You're not allowed to comment. If he says suddenly, wow, just look at her,
well, it's not the kind of thing
tonight.
You would do anyway, but we'll come back to this because we're running out of time. It's not the sort of thing you should do if you're out with somebody anyway, for heaven's sake.
I can't see the problem with an innocent comment.
Really?
Complimenting somebody.
Well, that may explain a lot. Matty says, Parry wants a quiz on the Masters. It doesn't start this week. 0 out of 10 already. This is TalkSport.
Bit harsh.
The Two Mics. Simulcast across the UK on TalkSport and Talk Radio.
I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for New England. Are you looking for another girl? I don't want to change the world. I'm not looking for...
This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mics. And, of course, this is the time of the week when we catch up with some of our good friends over on the other side of the Atlantic. One of them, probably the top friend of ours on this show, Mark Donaldson, is here. We had a good chat with him last week. He's here again. Mark, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Very kind. How are you both?
Well, I
think well indeed.
Mr. Parry's been quite rude to a lot of people over the past few weeks, so I'm trying to make up for it in case people just, think the charm offensive has run out. You know what I mean? Now, he's just said to me that he wanted to do a quiz on the Masters this week because it starts next week, and he's obviously wrong about that. But there's starting to be a bit of a build-up of excitement about it, isn't there?
Yeah, and Tiger had his book launch yesterday in New York, and he was asked questions, and he said, look, he will be at Augusta like he was last year. He will be at the Champions Dinner like last year, but he's hopeful, unlike last year, to be able to compete I don't know, and he's the only one that knows how the back is. It would be special if Tiger was there, but he's got to weigh up. He could embarrass himself. If he's not 100%, he could really embarrass himself. That's one of the toughest golf courses in the world. Do you want to come back and end up missing the cut? Because the last time he played, he pulled out after a round in Dubai, said he wasn't right. This is not the type of place that you can go to anywhere less than 100%.
Yeah, I think Rory McIlroy's going to make a huge charge in the Masters this year, Mark. I just think that he's, reaching almost peak form now. He's had a couple of frustrations in his last couple of tournaments, but he looks to me like a boy who's really up for it.
Really good shout, because there was an interview with him a couple of weeks back that I read over here in Golf Digest, and he was saying he's putting all his eggs in one basket with regards to the most important tournament for him. It is the Masters. Yeah. Remember when he was clear and he ended up with a tee shot in somebody's kitchen? It was that far left. This is the one that he wants. There's so many stories as well, Porky, because you've got Jordan Spieth, who was so close, and then he blew up last year.
That's right.
But this is the one. McIlroy's back from injury. He's had some good performances. He did well at the weekend as well. He was in the top 5. Yeah. And this is the one that he wants. You'll not get rich backing him, same as you will this week for the match play. But I think, for me, I agree with you. I think it's a case of when, not if, he wins the Masters. I just think now that there's so many potential. I mean, look, who would have picked Danny Willett last year? So you've got the kids like Tommy Fleetwood and other guys that are coming through. Tyrrell Hatton's been playing well of late. There's a lot of English guys. I just think the fear factor is gone in golf. There's no one like Tiger Woods of 10, 15 years ago.
And by the way, Mark, you're mentioning Danny Willett. It shows a difference between real champions and one-off champions, because the pressure of trying to hang on to being Masters champion has killed the boy, hasn't it?
His brother didn't help. Remember the Ryder Cup?
Of course,
His brother certainly didn't help. I mean, he went off at a big price last year and he won. Would it surprise you to know that the best odds on the Masters champion to defend the green jacket, you can get 100 to 1? He's coming back into form, but 100 to 1 on the defending champion. That's amazing, isn't it? You don't get that very often.
That's amazing. But also, what about Jordan Spieth as well? Because I remember watching his meltdown last year. Yep. And, you just couldn't quite believe it, because, I've never been a great big fan of Jordan Spieth anyway for various different reasons. But a guy of his calibre just chipping into a body of water that was about 20 yards ahead of him, you're just kind of going, what is happening to this guy? Will he ever be able to play proper golf again?
Well, the demons. I mean, I had 20 quid on them last year at a nice price. I was already spending the money, and then, goodness me, I actually left the restaurant, came home, I was like, wait a minute, what's happened here? And then saw what had happened. Yeah. So when he gets to the Amen corner and he has the same shots or similar type shots, you don't know how he's going to cope as well. The kid's a player. He will win a Masters, like Rory. Would you be taking the 7 to 1 on Jordan Spieth this year, given some of the other players in contention like Dustin and Rory McIlroy and Jason Day and especially Matsuyama? I wouldn't be taking the 7 to 1 here this year, because you just don't know what he's going to be like after what happened 12 months ago.
No, it's fascinating stuff, isn't it? But we'll be very, very excited to hear about it, of course. I was listening to Bob Bupker on Oxby and Jacobs a bit earlier on yesterday, and he said that he very, very uncharacteristically had a few words with Tiger's sort of manager stroke agent guy, who's normally plays quite a straight bat and generally doesn't give anything away. But he said it's not good, so he said the chances of him actually playing are sort of slim to none,
The other thing I would say, just not about Tiger, it's more an aesthetics thing for you guys this year. Augusta, at this time of year in August, when it takes place 6th to the 9th, is known as a kind of it's a totally different place inside the walls of Augusta as opposed to Washington Road on the outside. But don't expect the same colours. There was a bizarre story this week. The azaleas will be blooming earlier, and as a result, they will not be retaining their colour. So if you're expecting the full bloom of the azaleas and various other flowers, because of the weather that's in Georgia and has been over the last couple of weeks and what's expected before the Masters, it might be a slightly different looking Masters this year because of the colours. There you go. You'll sleep well tonight knowing that.
That'll upset Porky because he looks forward to the azaleas every year.
I like the azaleas.
He like the hollyhocks from last week.
It is similar to that. Yeah, because he's a very creative individual, as you know.
Am I going mad, or am I?
Yes.
Am I? No, seriously, Mark. No. Am I right in thinking that up till a few years ago, the Masters didn't even allow any TV coverage on the first 2 days.
Yeah, they allowed it, but only at a certain time.
It was a package of highlights, wasn't it?
Well, the BBC certainly didn't get anything more than that.
No, it's the same worldwide. Same over here as well. You only get a certain. I mean, they're now trying to get you online to the masters.org or masters.com or whatever it is,
yes.
And you get to see it online. But you're spot on. The coverage, I remember back in the UK, started at 9 o'clock on day one, which was 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's right.
For the first 2 days.
They felt themselves to be so special, didn't they? And such an elite sporting body that not only did they ever allow anybody on the course who wasn't a member, they didn't even allow the world's TV cameras in to watch the world.
They have moved forward because there's more digital coverage now as well. The thing that gets me, I don't have a problem with an organisation wanting to do that. Yes, it's history, I get that. But then if you're limiting the number, and it's the hardest ticket, I mean, I turned 40 on the Friday of the Masters. I know that's hard to believe. But
you turned 40?
I do on the Friday of the Masters.
Sorry, Mark, I saw you late last year.
I've been desperately trying to get a ticket.
No.
I was quoted $4,000.
$4,000?
I'm not paying that.
And you say you're coming up to 40? No, that can't be right. I saw you late last year. Do you mean 50? I'm so sorry, but I might be a bit harsh here.
Well, considering how you look and how much you weigh and how old you are, I think you're in a pretty dangerous little glass house there, Porky.
Do you know what? I'd have paid $4,000 for a ticket to get into Augusta, and
you would.
Was that for one day?
You can afford it.
Yeah, because he's a millionaire. You know, loads of string of properties all over the place.
No rubbish. I mean, sorry, Mark. Is that for one day?
You get a senior's discount, don't you?
Could I just?
No, it's a badge for the week.
A badge for the week, $4,000. Do you know what? Do you know what I'd have done? I'd have bought that. I'd have used it for day one because that would be great. Then I would have flogged it for twice the price for the next 3 days.
People do that. Yeah, people do that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the way they make money.
Exactly. You should have got in there. I'd have lent you the money and taken the cut.
That is a totally shocking
thing. You'd have lent me the money
at
what APR?
Yeah, well, exactly. I'd have taken the cut, obviously, at the profit. But yeah, let me know next time you get that opportunity, will you?
You see, the true nature of Porky, the sort of the shyster, comes out in these occasions. All he cares about is all he cares about is making a bit of money. Now, speaking of making a bit of money, I was my attention was drawn earlier today to this International Champions Cup. Which gets underway in July.
Manchester City.
Well, Manchester City are going to play Manchester United.
They did last year, didn't they?
Well, no, they was meant to play in China last year. This one is in the United States, right? They don't know yet where it's going to be. But is this a sign of another step closer to the Premier League game being played there? Do you think?
Don't think so. I mean, it's been the case the ICC over the last few years. So a guy called Charlie Stilitano, it's his management company that do this. One of Charlie's best friends is Alex Ferguson. So there's a reason that Alex Ferguson was in New York today at the launch, along with some of the high-profile players as well. We're still waiting on the announcement as to where that's going to take place, but Manchester United against Barcelona is going to take place in Washington. Man City against Real Madrid is going to be in Los Angeles. City are going to try and base themselves kind of Midwest and West Coast. Man City Spurs takes place in Nashville as well. Look, it's not the be-all or end-all, these fixtures as well, but they've attracted some decent sides, but you know you're going to get warm weather when you come over here, as opposed to, I think, was it Beijing last year, what the Manchester Derby
it got rained off,
was called off because of the rain? Yep.
Absolutely right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. And finally, I mean, I suppose we have to talk about Scotland. England take on Germany tonight over in Dortmund. Porky doesn't think it's a very important game. I don't really think it's a very important game either. We don't like international
I never take any notice of the result. Put it that way, Mark, because, when Dyer scored that goal that beat Germany last time, fantastic, the dawn of a new era, but it never is it? The Germans always win.
The form going into this game, both sides, I suppose, is decent. But I'm with you guys. I mean, international friendlies, I can't stand them. Scotland against Canada, I'm covering it over here on ESPN with Stevie Nicol. How am I going to talk up a game? I'll do my best. But how am I going to talk up a game whereby, as of Sunday, they'd sold 5,000 tickets for a match at Easter Road? So it's going to be a quarter full unless they sell more. And it's going to be the lowest attended Scotland match in 100 years. There's total apathy, and I've got to try and sell this.
Gordon Strachan is talking about it like as though, the visiting world champion is just about to descend on Scotland.
You think playing either sort of, Argentina or possibly Germany or maybe France. No, it's Canada.
Nobody even knew Canada had an international football team until about 3 days ago.
Hey, Canada beat Bermuda in their last game.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, forgot about that. That took place on the beach, didn't it? Yeah.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
With a dark and stormy, Gosling's rum and ginger beer and a slice of fresh lime.
Yeah,
well, the other good news we've got for you, Mark, before we let you go, is that we may be bringing the Two Mikes road show to New York City. So keep a couple of dates free back towards the back end of September, October time.
That's right.
You know who the president is over here. You know it's not as easy as it used to be to get in.
Yeah, but they let me in just the other week, so I'm assuming that...
You're okay. You're okay.
Yeah, you think I'm okay? Yeah, but Porky Trump here, as he's now known at Talk Sport, I mean, he's a great supporter of the Donald. They love him.
Bit harsh.
He'll be fine.
I'll be fine, don't worry.
Take care. Thank you very much indeed. Mark Donaldson there.
I'm well known around the
world. You are well known around the world. You've been arrested in many a place.
What?
This is Talk Sport. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. I'll tell you what I saw today was a story that disturbed me slightly. There were a couple of football hooligans up in court on a charge. And you guess what they had done?
No.
They were Charlton fans, and they'd gone to a cup game at Crystal Palace.
Right.
And a couple of them had tried to punch the eagle. You know the little eagle they've got, and the guy was parading it around the inside of the ground.
In fact, we got very close to it when we went to Palace.
Normally,
the guy was on the touchline when we walked round from the broadcasting stand. Yeah.
Well, on this particular occasion, he was down there because
it's disgraceful.
I know these idiots,
Yobbos,
decided to try and punch an eagle. I mean, what sort of idiot does that?
Oh, somebody.
I mean, you really can't imagine how stupid something
like. No, you can't. Drunk and out of control.
And the guy who's the owner or the handler of the eagle said actually they've got quite delicate bone structure.
Yes.
If the guy had actually connected with the eagle properly, he could have really, done a lot of serious damage.
We've all seen the skeletons of birds, haven't we, when we studied biology at school, and they literally are very fragile little creatures.
They are. Even eagles, even birds of prey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Now, we were talking golf before, weren't we?
We were indeed.
And... what's his name? Colin Montgomery.
Yes.
Now, I had a big row with Rob, what's his name? The Sky golf correspondent. He used to be a professional golfer himself.
Rob Lee.
Rob Lee, thank you.
I know Rob Lee. Yeah, we get him on here from time to time.
Yeah, we do, yeah. And
he's a good guy, Rob Lee.
He's very good indeed, very good.
Was there a row with him before?
Well, I'll tell you what it was. Years ago, when TalkSport was in its infancy, we did a lot of golf. We went to the courses and did them live commentary and all that kind of stuff,
Did you actually commentate on the golf then?
No, I used to do the breakfast show with Mr. Brazil from 6 till 10, and then a team of professional golfers would take over, do the commentary for the rest of the day.
Oh, right.
But in the end, we gave it up because we found that actually doing golf all day kind of alienated the rest of the audience that we had. You know what I mean? And whilst it was great stuff and all that, it was part of the evolvement process of Talk Sport. You know what I mean? But anyway, the point is that so we got heavily into the golf scene. Jeffrey Boycott was part of the team as well.
Why was he part of it?
He loved golf and he was very knowledgeable about it. So he was a sort of co-commentator along with people like Rob Lee.
Okay.
And of course Rupert Bell. Was one of our leading golf commentators.
Ding Dong Bell, as Mr. Brazil calls it.
Ding Dong Bell, that's right. But anyway, on the Colin Montgomery thing, I bet Rob Lee quite a lot of money, about £100 or something, that, and this was back in sort of 2002, that Colin Montgomery would never win a major.
Yes.
And he said, no, he will. I said he won't.
And he never did.
No.
I would have been with you on that one because I never thought he would either.
Exactly.
Because he came very close several times.
Playoffs.
But never quite made it.
Exactly. He came second, he came third, he got into 2 playoffs at majors, but he never actually got over the line. And I just said he won't. And by the way, that was when Tiger had only won about 4 or 5 of his majors. And I said, look, Tiger's going to win 2 every year for the next 5 years.
Right.
And that only leaves 2 going spare. And Colin Montgomery's not the 2nd or 3rd best golfer in the world, you know.
No, he's not.
But anyway, the point of my story...
Although he had quite a successful turn when he went into the senior tour, didn't he? He did all right there.
Well, I think that's a bit irrelevant. What he was very good at, of course, was Ryder Cup, wasn't he? He was an absolute star of Ryder Cup and,
he was.
and everything else. I mean, look, please don't get me wrong. He had a magnificent career. He just never got that... a bit like Lee Westwood, really. Yeah. Lee Westwood has been #1 golfer in the world.
He's never going to win one either.
He's never going to win one, and he never won a major. But the reason I'm talking about Colin Montgomery is an astonishing story which I came across this afternoon, and it comes from your part of the world, from Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe this? Colin Montgomery is suing his estranged wife for £5 million.
Why?
Over an agreement signed after they wed, which he now claims is unfair.
Okay.
The 53-year-old golfer is bringing the claim as part of his divorce from second wife, Gaynor Knowles.
Gaynor, yes, I remember her.
Yeah, 50, who he left last year.
Right.
His lawyers claimed yesterday that a post-nuptial agreement he signed with her in 2010 after he was caught cheating with another woman was not fair and reasonable. It committed the former Ryder Cup captain to paying for the upkeep of Mrs. Knowles' £2 million farmhouse in Perthshire.
Right.
He is now suing Mrs. Knowles at the Court of Sessions in Edinburgh for £5 million and is also demanding payments from her of £6,500 a month. She is countersuing.
Well, he wants her to pay him every month.
Yes.
Really?
£6,500 a month, yeah.
Right.
She is countersuing for £5 million and monthly payments from him of £10,000 a month. Montgomery.
This all sounds like a lawyer's bonanza.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean, you know what happens, right? One says, right, I need a payment for a month. You go, right, we're going to go in for a payment for a month as well.
Yeah, but ours is bigger than yours.
But ours is bigger than yours,
Yeah.
and then we'll settle somewhere in the middle. And in the end, it'll be like one of our friends, whose name I'm going to leave out of the story, who, when he was getting divorced, went to see the lawyers, and he came back looking terribly sort of ashen-faced.
Yeah.
And he said, and I said, what's the matter? He said, well, I've either got to give all my money to the ex-wife or to the lawyers.
Yeah.
He said, either way, I'm completely screwed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have no money left.
Yeah, I'm going to be broke, yeah. Absolutely amazing. But anyway, just to finish it off, it says Montgomery thought to be worth around £30 million.
Right.
That's a golfer who didn't win a major.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I mean, incredible amounts of money they get.
Oh, yeah. Married Mrs. Knowles in 2008, but was found to be having an affair with an ex-girlfriend 2 years into their marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Despite his infidelity, the mother of four stood by him. In court papers, Montgomery's legal team claim Mrs. Knowles placed him under pressure to enter into the post-nuptial agreement so their marriage could continue.
Uh-huh.
So
she basically decided to punish him.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm going to say. You know, I mean, I've caught you out, right?
Yes.
But I'm prepared to forgive you.
Yeah.
Just sign this bit of paper, which means that I'll be a wealthy, very wealthy divorced woman for the rest of my life if it goes wrong again.
Yeah.
I mean, blimey, don't put some people get themselves into a difficult position.
It's a terrible situation, isn't it? And I mean, luckily they don't have children together by the sounds of it.
No, they don't. She's a mother of four from previous relationships.
Yeah.
But I haven't told you one of the best bits of this.
Yeah, go on.
One of the best bits is, before marrying Colin Montgomery, Mrs. Knowles inherited a £20 million fortune when her first husband, Scottish furniture tycoon George Knowles Jr., died in 2003, aged just 41.
Oh, dear.
I mean, this is just the most remarkable story,
That
isn't
is
it?
a remarkable story. And I wonder what her antecedents are. So where did she start off from, I wonder?
Well, I've no idea. I've no idea. But the point is...
So she doesn't need the money, in other words.
Exactly. She already had 20 million quid in the bank when she married Monty.
This is all about a woman's scorn, this, isn't it?
She catches him out.
Yeah.
So she says, right, for this marriage to continue, you're going to sign a prenup, even though we are married.
Right.
So it's a prenup.
Well, it's a post-nup.
It's a post-nup, that's right. It's a post-nup. You sign this, and if you start messing around again, or I decide I don't want you, I'm going to boot you out, and you're going to pay me an awful lot of money on top of the 20 million I've already got.
And he just wants a bit of peace.
Yeah.
And so he goes, all right then. You know.
So, under the post-nuptial agreement we just talked about, it is claimed Montgomery agreed that in the event of a divorce, he would pay all reasonable costs for the house for the remainder of Mrs. Knowles' life and relinquish his share of the home Mrs. Knowles is demanding Montgomery gives her to honour the deal.
God almighty.
She already lives in the house that she inherited from her sadly dead husband, which is worth about £2.5 million.
Right.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It's like lifestyles of the rich and famous, this, isn't it?
And guess what?
And all that's going to happen is there are going to be an awful lot of Edinburgh lawyers getting very, very wealthy, thank you very much indeed. And they'll be keeping it going for as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And guess what? They met on a blind date.
Did they?
They met on a blind date in 2006 and became engaged 12 months later. Mr. Montgomery's first divorce from childhood sweetheart Aimee Wilson, with whom he split in 2004.
I remember her,
Yeah, was blamed on his unreasonable behaviour because of his obsession with golf. Yeah.
Well, he was a professional golfer.
He was,
I mean, it's
right,
not like your average marriage where the woman goes, do you really have to play golf every Saturday and every Sunday?
That's right,
and you go, well, actually, I have to do it every week because I'm a professional golfer.
Professional golfer, that's right, yeah. When Mr. Montgomery married Gaynor Knowles, he spent £1.2 million at Loch Lomond Golf Club.
Loch Lomond, I know it well. I played there.
On the ceremony, yeah. And the hotel there?
Well, it's not really a hotel. It's a well, there is a Loch Lomond hotel, but the golf club has rooms, but it's not really a hotel. You can't really stay there unless you remember.
But can you imagine the wedding taking place there?
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
It's one of the few golf courses I've played at. It's got a helipad.
Helipad, yeah, that's right. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a very
story.
Unlikely Lothario, old Colin Montgomery. But
well, a lot of them are, you know. A lot of them are.
Apparently, the golf circuit can be quite a bit sort of den of iniquity.
Oh, it's a bit like the racing world, isn't it? Who knows what goes on behind the silks, so to speak,
indeed.
or behind the weighing room door, in a lot of the racing world.
Well, maybe you can tell us.
Who knows what's going on in the back of the horse box, eh?
Yeah, well, you may well ask. Who knows
what's going on behind those stable doors?
I think we're reading too many Jilly Cooper novels.
When you hear a bit of the old, clattering of hooves, could it be Rumpy Pumpy on the run, huh?
No more tea for you. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. He'd let us in. Knows where we've been.
It's more Ringo Starr, isn't it?
It is a bit of Ringo Starr, but it's the song really, rather than the artist.
Oh, is it? Okay.
What's that? Octopus's Garden,
Octopus's Garden, yeah.
Now, do you know?
I quite like that song.
I quite like it as well, but I like the history to it, and that is that Ringo was on holiday during a tense time with the Beatles. It was in the last couple of years, when they were all shouting at each other, and I think Ringo was the first to walk out, actually, but then, came back within 24 hours.
He couldn't be bothered with it anymore.
He just hated the tension, the atmosphere, the rowing and all that kind of stuff. I felt a little bit left out because of the songwriting thing.
Yeah.
And he went off on holiday somewhere. I think it was in this country. But anyway, he was walking along the shore and there was he engaged conversation with a fisherman.
Oh, yeah.
And the fisherman said he'd been out watching the octopuses. And Ringo said, what do you mean? He said, well, they make gardens under the water.
Uh-huh.
And he said, are you sure?
Well, he's not likely to have been in Britain then, is he? There's not many octopuses' gardens around our shores, I don't think.
I'm sure you're probably right, but I can't remember where he was, you know. But anyway, that's why he wrote the song. This fisherman told him that octopuses are very domestic creatures, and they do have nesting instincts, and they always have a little garden where they live.
Right.
And Ringo couldn't believe it. Now, when he did some research on it, found that the guy wasn't winding him up, and it was absolutely true, and he wrote that song. Now, that came to mind when I picked up a book sent to me called Other Minds, The Octopus and the Evolution of Intelligent Life. The octopus is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most intelligent creature.
We've had a conversation about this before.
Humans.
We've had a conversation about this before, haven't we? Because I can't remember what it was that you said, but you said that they could do something or other which was quite remarkable.
They can do amazing things, and I can't remember exactly what it was last time, but this book is just incredible. Remember Paul the Octopus in the 2010 World Cup?
This is the one that predicted the scores.
He got 9 out of 10 right. Everybody said, oh, well, that was just a coincidence. They actually think that he was absorbing information from the room in which his tank
No, I'm not having that.
No,
I'm not having that.
Well, listen.
So he's not. I mean, I'm perfectly happy to accept that octopi, which I think is the plural.
No, it's octopuses.
Is it octopuses?
This book makes the point. It's octopuses.
You sure?
Yeah. So, definitely sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So octopuses are intelligent creatures, and they may be able to communicate with each other in ways that we don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not buying that there are psychic octopuses out there that can predict football results.
Well, there's one of the contributors to this book is a guy called. Actually, he's the main author of the book, an Australian philosopher, Peter Godfrey Smith. So
philosopher?
Yeah, he's a philosopher.
I thought you didn't believe in philosophy.
Yeah, I do, and particularly when this guy's a philosopher with an expert knowledge of octopuses, okay?
Well, he's an octopus philosopher.
Eh?
He's an octopus philosopher.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Are you sure about this book?
Now,
what's the name of the book?
It's called Other Minds, The Octopus and the Evolution of Intelligent Life. Oh. Now, the thing is, right, that we all know that man, Homo sapien, crawled out of the sea at some stage and turned into what we are now. Right?
Crawled out of the sea?
Yeah, we came out the sea.
No, we didn't.
We did.
No.
We did, honestly.
Primordial slime, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing.
It's not the same, is it?
Well, I mean, we evolved from water.
Well, are you saying that we were the man from Atlantis?
Yes, sort of thing.
With gills?
Well, amoebas are like live in slimy sort of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think we came from the sea.
Well, listen, what I'm saying is, what the contrast we can make is that if the octopus had come out the sea, they would have more intelligent life form than we as humans have now. They just stayed in the sea.
Why?
Because they're hugely intelligent. What they do is they are very particular about their diet.
I saw one in Mallorca, funnily enough.
Yes.
When we were sort of swimming around, snorkelling around a little bay.
Oh, okay.
And we saw a beautiful little red octopus.
Right, yeah, okay.
Lovely.
Now, one experiment they undertook, right, looking at these octopuses, is that they have discovered that octopuses like crab, okay?
They like crab.
They like crab.
What do you mean, to eat them?
They like to eat crab.
Right.
But even more, because they've got 8 sort of tentacles, they can use those as like fingers and hands. And so...
Well, effectively they are, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what they did is they gave this octopus in his tank.
They put him in a tank.
Eh?
Oh, he was in a tank.
Yeah, but this was for an experiment.
Oh, right.
They took him out the sea and put him in a tank.
That's not very nice.
Well, no, they put him back in the sea to watch his eating habits. Now, what they did is they gave him crab, but the crab were in shells.
Right.
Like you'd get in a restaurant.
Yeah,
like
so how did he crack the shell?
They used their tentacles to scoop the crab out of the shells and put it in their mouth.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, right...
Yeah, but you still have to crack it, though, in order to get into it.
No, I mean half a shell, you know what I mean, where the crab has gone into it, like you'd have in a restaurant, and you'd eat it with a knife and fork, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to crack it with a hammer, usually.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. But anyway, they managed to get it out, okay? But the most amazing thing is that the octopus picked the crab out of one shell, and the crab was off. So he...
It was off?
Yeah, it was off. It was off.
Well, you mean it was old?
It wasn't good.
Something wrong with
the crab wasn't... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he tapped on the window, right, to attract the attention of the humans in the room.
He tapped on the window?
Yes. They then looked at him. He then actually took it with that tentacle, went to the outflow water pipe, which you have in a tank to keep the water fresh, and flicked it in there and threw it away. Yeah.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah, absolutely certain. Absolutely certain.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, honestly, it says here he held it up conspicuously just to show us that it was no good. Yeah.
I've got this from Matt. He says, Porky says the octopus was in a tank.
Yeah.
Can you ask Porky how he drove it?
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Now, yes, as we stood there, the octopus made its way slowly across the tank to the outflow pipe, watching a
hang
human
on a second.
all the way.
You're now characterising this octopus as a human-type personality.
I am.
Which is not only a sense of intelligence, but it also has a sense of knowing when the food is off, which I can understand.
Yes.
But also has a sort of a sense of irony as well.
Listen to this. As we stood there, the octopus made its way slowly across the tank to the outflow pipe, watching me all the way. This is the scientist who saw this. Then, still watching...
I hope he's got video evidence of all this, has he?
It dumped the piece of squid it had taken out of the shell down the drain. This was squid, not crab, OK?
What was it doing in a shell?
Well, I don't know, but it was. It was.
Squid in a shell?
Yeah, it was, yeah, OK? And
are you sure this guy's a scientist?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. You've got to remember that what helps an octopus to be so bright is that it's got
the first thing you should have known is that squid doesn't have a shell.
Well, it had the squid, and it said, this squid is bad, I'm not eating it, and threw it away. Now, the thing is that the octopus has incredibly sly brain power. One reason being is it's a bone-free body. So it can refashion its body.
Similar to a squid.
That's right, yeah. It can refashion its body to fit any available space, OK? Right. In which its skin will fit, OK?
Any available space?
What?
What do you mean, any available space?
Well, it can hide under rocks and all that kind of stuff.
Escape down the water pipe that was going out of the tank?
Well, the water pipe is tiny compared to the size of the octopus, right?
I see.
Now, what about this one here? An octopus's skin ripples with tiny receptors that react to light and allow it to navigate its way around the ocean depths. It does not need light because of the receptors in its skin. It can change colours, chameleon-like, as it goes.
I've seen that. That I've seen.
Right, well, there you go.
Because the red octopus that I saw
was
not red at the beginning. It became red because it does that to ward off predators, basically.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It can change colour all the time.
I'm very happy to accept the fact that the octopus is a very intelligent creature.
Yes.
But I do draw the line at it kind of, communicating with this philosopher bloke.
Yeah.
And not understanding the difference between squid and crab.
Yeah, looking him in the eye and saying, I don't want this food, and throwing it away. You looked at him in the eye.
He's only got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. But he looked him in the eye and said, you've given me this bad squid, I'm going to throw it away, and threw it away. OK? No, he did.
He did not throw it away.
He did. He stared at him. Now, what it says here is that cephalopods, which is what an octopus is, right?
A cephalopod, yeah.
Cephalopod, that's the one, is in fact our ancestor who didn't climb out of the water. This is the point I was making.
So this is the one that stayed in the water.
Yeah, and slowly turned into what they are today.
It's bad news for Michael Phelps, isn't it? If he'd have stayed in the water, he could have won more medals.
We turned into what we are today. The octopus's precursors remained where they were, developing a parallel nervous system, which is different from ours, but almost as complex. Okay?
Right.
The octopus is the nearest thing we have on Earth to alien life. And we can that we can encounter on our planet.
It's just the same philosopher bloke.
Yeah.
I think he's having everybody on. How about this from Becky?
Yeah.
She says, it's bad enough having the Porky jinx without 8-legged cephalopod mollusks predicting sports results.
That's right. Absolutely. Now, the saddest thing about the octopus and why octopus will never rule the world
there's probably a lot of reasons for that.
Well, there's one main reason.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these cunning, fascinating, brilliantly intelligent creatures never get much older than 2 years of age.
What?
Did you know that?
What do you mean, they die?
They die.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure they've found old octopuses, haven't they, in the deepest depths of the sea?
No. They
only
ever live to the age of 2.
What, you mean they die of old age at the age of 2? Or do they get eaten by something else?
No, they die of old age at the age of 2. Really? And when they die, by the way, because he studied the death of octopuses as well.
Well, they probably keep dying and he puts them in a tank.
Put them back in the sea. It's an incredibly moving thing because what happens is all its limbs and skin fall off before it dies. Yeah, honestly. And they sort of just disappear, you know what I mean?
Are you sure this guy's an expert on octopuses?
Yes, honestly, I'm certain. I'm absolutely certain. I just thought it was the most fascinating book I've read on the natural world for a long, long time, and one that I should share with our millions of listeners.
Well,
Do you not agree?
I'm very glad that you have. However, I'm willing to bet you any money that this bloke, the philosopher, if we get him on the show, doesn't know as much about octopuses as you do.
Well, he certainly does, and I think we should try and get him on the show.
I think we should. Anthony says this, I get the impression that Porky Parry gets his knowledge from Guinness adverts about Darwinism.
No.
Hashtag Octo-Porky.
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
And here's one from Matt. He says, I'm not sure I fully believe this story about the octopus. It smells a bit fishy.
Yeah, well.
And Matt has sent a picture of Family Guy as a mermaid saying conclusive proof of Porky's evolution from a sea creature.
Well, I think we've all. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think we've all.
That's Peter Griffin.
I'm sure we've all emerged from the sea at some stage in the past.
People always say sounds like that guy we used to get on, the security expert we used to get on. Do you remember?
Who's he?
He sounded like Peter Griffin. I can't remember his name. But
Peter Griffin. Who's Peter Griffin?
Peter Griffin's the guy from Family Guy.
Oh yeah.
You haven't seen that?
No, I don't think so.
It's a cartoon.
A cartoon, okay, yeah. All right, if you say so.
All right,
no problem.
okay. Anyway, coming up next, we're going to talk about space.
Yep.
Science, big subject on the show tonight. We're going to talk to our favourite astronaut, who is, of course, Clayton Anderson. He's been to the moon, you know. This is Talk Sport.
And I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and of course, Ask Porky's coming up in the next hour. So if you've got any problems you need solving, any questions you need answers to, this is the place to do it. You can tweet us at the two mics, and of course, you can find us on Facebook as well, where we will also be filming a bit of the show live. So keep your eyes open for that. Right now, though, it's time to speak about space with Clayton Anderson, who is our favourite astronaut. He's got a new book out, actually, which is called The Ordinary Spaceman.
Lovely.
All about his experiences up in the heavens. Clayton, very good morning to you, I should say.
Hey, how are you guys doing? It's great to talk to you again.
Thank you very much.
Very well indeed. Now, as ever, there's always a whole host of different stories that have been doing the rounds. The most recent one is that Stephen Hawking apparently has agreed or has revealed that he wants to go up into space with a bit of luck with Virgin Galactic, with Richard Branson hoping to give him a free ticket. You think that's going to happen?
Well, I hope so for his benefit. You know, he's 75, I believe. And he's wanted to go to space for a long, long time, apparently. And so Mr. Branson is going to give him a free ticket to ride. So I'm just hopeful that Virgin Galactic's able to pull it off while Mr. Hawking can still enjoy the experience.
Right. I mean, given the fact that the gravity obviously is different up there and minimal, is that going to help him or hinder him, do you think?
Well, you know, it'll be an interesting thing for me. With his condition, the toughest part, I believe, for him will be getting into space when the rocket ignites. It falls down from a big airplane, and then the rocket engine ignites and takes them to the edge of space. They don't go around the Earth, but they go to a point where he'll experience microgravity for 5 or 6 minutes. And that's the part I think that he's looking forward to the most, right? For a guy that's been bound into a wheelchair to be able to float freely and have a little fun. I think that's what he's probably wanting to experience the most.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. Clayton, tell us a little bit about your new book, please, because anything you write, a man who has been in space, is going to fascinate millions of people. What's the main theme of it?
Well, it covers the 15 years of my astronaut career, and it looks like I'm hoping, if my fingers are crossed, for me to make a trip to the UK this coming July for some book signings and stuff. So I'm not sure of all the details yet, but those are being worked out as we speak. But hopefully I'll be over there.
That will be
well, Porky,
fantastic.
you can help him out with that because he's done many book signings in his very wide and varied career.
I certainly have, and obviously if you're in London, you're doing one of those. I hope we can pitch up. Now, can I just tell you, Clayton, because this gentleman may or may not be a hero of yours, that today is the 86th birthday of William Shatner, who, of course, was Captain Kirk on Star Trek. So I don't know whether you guys ever watched Star Trek, did you, in the profession you were in, and wondered, will it ever happen, could it ever happen, or is it a load of old rubbish?
Oh, I'm a big Trekkie. I loved Captain Kirk and Dr. Spock and Dr. McCoy and all those guys. I watched every TV show. I watched all their movies, and I follow him on Twitter because he's quite hilarious with his tweets.
Yes, I totally agree. And
Mr. Sulu's even funnier, isn't he, with his social media activity?
Yeah. The great thing I thought about William Shatner was that although, he had to be very serious in his role as Captain Kirk, he's an incredibly funny bloke, isn't he, outside of that, and always, ready to have a laugh and all that kind of stuff. But when all the laughs have gone away, I mean, do you see the technology being available someday to have a ship like, USS Enterprise?
That's another great question. I don't know that we'll ever get there. I certainly hope we do. But you can see things now from that show that have begun to find their way into technology. The communicators they used to use for our cell phones, and then the phaser on stun, that's a taser to me.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of stuff going on now. I think that Gene Roddenberry was kind of the fortune teller and the guy that could look into the future and see some of that. So all that being said, hey, if we can get a new propulsion system that will go that fast, by golly, Katie bar the doors.
What about the possibility, Clayton, of breaking the body's molecules down? Beam me up, Scotty, I'm talking about here, and then transporting them to another place and then putting them all back together again. I mean, is that just pure fantasy, or could that scientifically be one day achievable?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm smart enough to answer that question.
Right.
But I think that would be way cool. And with virtual reality, we're creating holodecks all across the world, right? So who am I to say you could never do it?
No, well,
I would always worry that it would end up being more like The Fly than Star Trek, so that you'd go to the other side of the chamber and suddenly you'd be mixed up. Your DNA would be all mixed up with something else.
Well, imagine if they put you back together again with your head on the end of your right ankle or something like that. It would be
exactly.
Yeah.
Or you came out looking like an octopus.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about earlier. Now, Clayton, there's been a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. One is about a place called Aberystwyth, which is on the west coast of Wales, where apparently they've got a massive telescope, and I don't know whether you know about this, but they've spotted, scientists there for the first time, captured the first UK sighting of a meteorite hitting the moon. You know anything about this?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is, because apparently it's been known that something like this has happened in the past, but this particular place in Aberystwyth, which has now got one of the bigger telescopes in sort of Western Europe, has captured this event and said that these tiny flashes that they've been able to see are notoriously difficult to record. The meteorite would be travelling anywhere between 10 to 70 kilometres per second as it hit the surface of the moon.
Wow. Well, I'm sure it left a crater. It's too bad that they say it's so difficult to record, because it'd be way cool to see.
Absolutely right. And the other story that I wanted to ask you about is about the sun, because apparently there's been no sunspots over the last 11 days, which is a spotless stretch that we haven't seen since the last solar minimum many, many years ago. So, I mean, does this mean that the weather's going to be affected?
Well, anything that happens on the sun's solar cycle is an 11-year cycle where it peaks and then it drops to a minimum 11 years later, then it rises back to a peak again. And my knowledge right now is that we're coming down from a solar maximum about 4 or 5 years ago. So we're kind of on the downside of the hill, about halfway down, which would tell me that there would be less solar spotting activity as it heads down toward the minimum. But I'm not sure exactly how that will affect us. But I do know, with our position relative to the sun, that when the sun does have a solar maximum, more of that sun's rays and the particles and things hit the Earth than when it's at its minimum. So That's why we see auroras. We've been seeing some great auroras from the space station for the last few years because we have been in the solar maximum period.
Interesting stuff.
Indeed.
So, when your book is coming out over here, we'll be able to read about some of the trips that you made, presumably on the space shuttle and also on the International Space Station. What's the kind of the temperature at the moment at NASA? Because obviously everyone's watching the Donald Trump White House to see what's going on in terms of where he's going to place his money. Is he trying to slash the NASA budget?
Well, I think he signed an authorization today to give him $19.5 billion, that's pretty much a standard number these days. We've been operating on about that amount of money for quite some time, so at least it's not a big cut. I know he does want to cut some aspects of what NASA does, such that he can refocus that money to human exploration and some other things. So the jury's kind of out. It's still pretty early. We need to have him name us an administrator at NASA here pretty soon, which I think that's kind of imminent as well. But based on what he did today, that's a good sign that we at least have the budget that we've had in the past. So that's all good.
Okay. And Clayton, do you know where we are with man's plans to go to Mars? Because I read various stories of within 5 years, we'll set off on the mission to Mars. We're looking for volunteers who will, go on a one-way mission. They may be away for 20 years. I mean, is it realistically ever going to happen in your lifetime?
It depends on how long I get to live, I guess.
Yes.
I'm 58 now, and I would like to think within 30 years we're doing something with humans headed that direction, or we would have at least established a colony on the moon, perhaps. So I think we have the ability to develop the technology that we need to go there. I don't think we have it yet. How long it's going to take is directly proportional to the amount of funding that we're provided, right? We went from nothing to the moon in 10 years. Well, why did we do that? How did we do that? We had really smart people. They had a lot of money given to them to do the things they needed to do to make it happen. So if that were to occur again and the funding would go up such that we could get after it, I think we could do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, John F. Kennedy said, didn't he, the greatest challenge is to put a man on the moon within 10 years. We do these things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. But getting to Mars is proving to be particularly hard, isn't it?
Well, yeah, with the current propulsion we have, it's a long trip. The ability to sustain astronauts in that radiation environment for 6 to 9 months is a problem we haven't solved yet.
Right.
And then what my concern is, what do you do when you get on the planet's surface? I think we need to do a lot of testing and developing and perhaps do it on the moon so that we know when our equipment and our things get to Mars, they're going to be able to function appropriately.
Well, haven't we done that already, with the greatest of respect, Clayton? Haven't we spent a lot of time on the moon already working out what happens in, atmosphereless environments and all that kind of stuff? Haven't we done all that? Yeah.
But I don't think we know how to, to have a colony to have multiple people of more than just 2 guys wandering around in boots picking up rocks.
Yeah,
I think we need to develop, inflatable habitat structures, and how do we get water, and how do we recycle the air? How do we get rid of carbon dioxide? How do we turn the ice that's in the supposed polar caps? How do we get that out and create it into water that we can actually use? Those are issues we have to solve.
Sure.
And 3 days away with no comm delay on the moon seems like a better place to solve them than 6 to 9 months away on Mars.
Yeah, sure.
I think you're absolutely right. Well, listen, Clayton, do keep us informed about your trip to Britain, and if you do make it here, we'd love to have you on the show in the studio, and see if we can sell a few copies of your book for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Sounds like a plan, men. Thank you so much.
No problem
does.
at all.
Thank
Clayton
you very much
Anderson.
indeed, Clayton. Thank
You've
you.
changed your tune a bit about the exploration of space. You used to say it was a waste of time.
Well, I think it's a waste of time going back to the moon for just the purpose of going back to the moon.
Yes.
But the way Clayton describes it, if that was a precursor then to going to Mars, then I would say that was a valid exercise.
Okay, so you think going to Mars is a good idea now?
Well,
you've always been telling me it's a load of old rubbish.
It is a load of old rubbish because we haven't been to Mars before. We don't know what's there. But what I'm telling you now is that if man needs to push the borders, and remember that Stephen Hawking did say, unless we colonise another planet, mankind will die out, then probably it's as well to take notice of what he's got to say.
I think you're absolutely right.
He is a very brilliant man.
He is. Dr. John says this, Stephen Hawking wants to go into space. Maybe you should ask that other experienced astronaut, Mike Parry, what it's like.
Yeah, absolutely,
Because you are, of course, an experienced astronaut, are you not?
Well, you qualify as an astronaut if you go over 50,000 feet, and when I flew in the Concorde, it went to 61,000 feet.
Okay.
So, on that basis, I titularly claim...
I've still never seen the certificate, though.
Astronaut status.
I haven't still haven't seen the certificate. Are you going to bring it in?
I don't know where it is, to be honest.
Oh, really?
No.
That's a funny thing.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mikes, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Still got lots of tweets here about the octopus story. One from Becky, who's actually put up a piece of video footage from YouTube saying incredible footage of an octopus escaping through a 1-inch hole.
Oh, yeah?
So actually they can go through very small spaces.
If they're a small octopus, yeah, but if you're a big octopus, you can't.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, Mike says this, octopuses, particularly larger species such as the giant Pacific octopus, may live for up to 5 years under suitable circumstances.
Oh, really? Okay, well, most of them die after 2.
But apparently Paul the octopus died after 2 years.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Born in January 2008, died October 2010.
That's right. It's not a very long lifespan, is it,
Well, it's not, but I mean, a lot of creatures don't live very long, do they? I mean, aren't flies supposed to only have a sort of 24-hour cycle?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, that's too long for me.
Bees don't live very long either.
No.
David is asking, will Ask Porky be on Periscope too? Says Dave, the Villa fan. Well, we're doing some things on Periscope.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
not
fine.
Periscope 2 as in, number 2.
Yeah, sure,
as in as well.
Yes, okay.
We might do it on Periscope. I don't know. We haven't really decided which one we like better, to be honest. Facebook Live seems to have more people on it.
Yeah.
And gets seen by more people.
Can you do both at the same time?
You can.
Yes.
You can, but it starts to get a bit complicated.
Complicated, yeah, okay. We don't want to get too complicated.
Lackey says this, normally I listen to the podcast the next day. This week it's live. Porky's crazy. MG's the true man of the people.
I don't know how people can say that and make such a rash judgment on the distinction between the two of us.
Yes.
I think it tends to sway around a bit from one to the other.
That's probably true.
And go around in circles a bit,
Yeah.
What do you think old Gareth Southgate meant today about we've got to shake off our Ireland mentality? Is he having a go at... What's he having a go at?
Well, I think he's trying to make out that little Englanders have held England back.
Is that what he's saying?
I think so, yeah.
What does he mean by that? Why has he brought politics into football, then?
Well, I don't know that he's brought politics into football. What he's saying is that that each individual organisation of football in Germany and in Spain has worked together in order to make the whole better. It's a sort of holistic approach. So what they've said is that, grassroots have actually fed into the system whereby the Bundesliga players and the teams get a lot of support in the same way that La Liga does. But in this country, I think it's not so much that England's an island, but each individual sort of state is an island, if you like. Like the FA is an island, the Premier League is an island.
Right.
I think that's what he means.
Well, he says here, Germany have a consistent plan and so have Spain. When we play German teams, they just have that belief in the way they play.
Yeah.
Terry Venables gave me that as a player, stretching me in different areas and doing things to improve me. We won't get here overnight, but we've got players who are able to do that.
Do you not think as well, though, that there is
I think he's just bigging himself up. Oh, I was in the last great England team in '96,
Well, I mean, I've said this many times, I think you and I have agreed, that, when we would talk about, say, Germany or Spain or Italy or France, you'd have an idea of how they play football. Trying to defend or trying to define how England play football is impossible. You can't say it's a particular type of style, particular kind of team. You just don't really know, do you?
No, you see, again, he mixes politics and football here. He says, look at Spain. We are an island. We've got to get off the island and learn from them. Being an island saved us in 1945, but I'm not sure it's helped us ever since. We need to look in the mirror and change the way we do things tactically with our physical preparation, our style of play, mentality. We've had success in every other sport in our country. We're probably the missing piece. The lads see one league, they see Sky Sports. Other countries are quite happy to say nice things to us, and then they pack us off and thank God we've got rid of them. That's how it feels to me, and I don't like it. I just don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit odd to invoke the Second World War. Yeah, I know. I mean, but he's obviously trying to make some kind of point about the institutions of Britain rather than the country itself.
I think he's trying to be a sort of pseudo-academic. I think he's got the Roy Hodgson disease.
Yeah, that's never a good idea.
It's not a good idea.
But that's from hanging around with all those people at the FA, which is a nightmarish organisation, it seems to me.
Yeah, but the thing is...
Does he not know, by the way, that everybody voted to leave the European Union?
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
in the sense of...
Well, not everybody did. A majority voted to leave the European Union.
Shall we say the majority did, yeah.
But you see, when he says being an island saved us in 1945, but I'm not sure it helped us ever since... What a self-serving statement.
That's a very odd thing to say, I accept that. Yeah.
Is he now saying, as a military historian, I can tell you, if we hadn't been an island, we would have been invaded by Hitler? How do you say that?
Well, he can't, can he?
Can't you say? Of course you can't say that.
He can't say that. And
Honestly.
Also, it was not just the fact that Britain was an island that saved us during World War II.
In any event.
You know, so we had a navy which was fighting all over the world.
We had a navy.
We had an air force that was fighting all over the world.
Fortunately, the German air force was run by a guy called Goebbels, who was a fat fraud.
Goebbels.
Who couldn't see straight, let alone fly straight.
I'm not going to defend him.
I've
never heard him described as a fat fraud before.
He was a drug addicted fraud,
power crazed maniac.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to be a First World War Baron von Richthofen sort of pilot, which he was, and he got too fat to get into an aeroplane, so he became head of the Luftwaffe.
Yeah.
But most of the time, he was doped up on things like codeine and
morphine.
And morphine, that's right, yeah.
And cocaine probably as well.
And cocaine, and was walking around in a daze, and in fact completely screwed the German ability to invade Britain by changing his tactics at the last minute. He stopped bombing RAF airfields and told his...
started bombing the cities.
Started bombing London, that's right, and Coventry, and said, we're getting nowhere with the airfields. In fact, another 3 days of bombing the RAF airfields, and we would have to have given in.
That might have been the thing, yeah. Well, maybe Gareth hasn't got to that bit of the book yet.
It's got that big of thought. The other thing is that saved us is, it's not just being an island. Secretly, we had invented radar, which nobody else had.
Maybe...
so even if we were attached to the continent, we'd have known they were coming before they knew knew they were coming.
Maybe instead of using his spare time to go over to Oregon and places and check out basketball teams, he should sit down by the television and watch The World at War.
Exactly.
Which is a great TV series.
It is, I agree, yeah.
And he might learn something more about it. He's a very... we used to jokingly call him Pep Southgate.
Yeah, Pep Southgate,
in the days when Pep actually had a reputation as being a great manager. Now that he doesn't have such a great reputation, I'm not sure we could call him that anymore.
Such a ridiculously trite throwaway line. Of course, being an island saved us in 1945, but I'm not sure it's helped us ever since.
Yeah.
How on earth you can relate the horror of, the Second World War?
Is this an interview in the Times you're looking at?
Well, no, it's just an interview I'm looking, which I've just got off wires, that he said at his press conference today. The other thing I would point out...
Don't you think somebody who was interviewing him should have asked him what exactly he meant by that?
Well, not only that, shouldn't somebody have said to him, sorry, Gareth, you said being an island saved us in 1945.
Yeah.
The Battle of Britain actually took place in 1940.
Yes.
So what happened in 1945?
And it happened in the air as well.
Yeah, exactly, with the Germans about to invade us again in 1945, because actually, I think you'll find that the tanks of Russia, America and Britain were homing in on Berlin and Hitler's bunker in 1945. So I'm not sure that they'd have been able to invade Britain.
He says that part of this process is basically to learn to improve, but also to admit what things need improving.
Yes.
And he says that some of those things have already started. The reform of the academies, the improved focus on coaching, which is a process that Germany went through. I mean, I keep hearing about this improved coaching, but I don't know what it means.
I don't.
And then he says we've probably got some work to do in England in terms of the connection between the DFB and the Bundesliga, which is extremely strong, which I presume he means, like the grassroots organisations and the FA and the Premier League. So he says it's much better in Germany because they can play in their league because the ownership model of the club. But in the same token, right, in the same paper, there's a story about how the Chinese company that bid for Southampton back in January have now upped their bid and are more than likely now to be taking over. So Southampton will become the second Premier League team owned by the Chinese.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a Chinese property development company.
Well, it doesn't surprise me.
By the name of Lander Sports Development.
When you see the amount of investment that China are indulging in worldwide, literally. I mean, their investment plan in Africa is enormous.
Well, they bought up all the minerals,
absolutely enormous. Yeah. Absolutely right they have, yeah.
Did you see that great picture I tweeted out the other day of the Chinese train that goes actually through a building?
Yes, I did, yes.
Isn't that incredible?
Yes, it was incredible, yeah.
Apparently in that city, they've got something like 25 million people.
Yeah, never heard of the city.
It's not even a city that, as far as I'm concerned, it's on my radar.
No, exactly. People would not even be able to name it. If you were suddenly asked to name the 15 most popular cities in the world, that would be one of them, but they don't even bother...
But it's not even, it's not even mentioned. No. Now, Western says this, it's incredibly moving, its skin and limbs all fall off. He says each to their own, I suppose. And then here's one from David who says, I'm sorry, Mr. Parry, a lot of the Block says about this octopus. The only thing worth mentioning that came out of the sea was Ursula Andress.
Well, we talked about Ursula Andress the other night, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. And Vicky says, I'm one of the 6,000 games of the Scotland game tonight, MG. I'll be your eyes and ears if anything remotely interesting happens. It's a very brave woman that goes to watching Scotland playing Canada.
Isn't that appalling what Mark told us? Only a quarter of Easter Road will be full for an international game involving the national side, Scotland.
Well, why would you go?
Well, why would you go? I totally agree. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Anthony says this, everything is better in Germany. I used to live there for 20 years. Everything tends to function. And even the cycle lanes work there properly. So there we are. We'll talk some more about that coming up. Coming up as well, it's going to be Ask Porky. I'm just, as we speak, linking the live Periscope feed to Facebook, so you can now watch it on Facebook as well.
Excellent.
So we might keep it on for Ask Porky. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, well,
it's proven to be quite popular.
Yeah,
I'm
glad about that.
Video activity.
I'm glad about that. There's a couple of groups of people I want to focus on, right, and point out to you, right?
Yeah, go on.
Now, the first one is if you go to my own TV station rather than the Two Mics one.
Your own TV station?
Yeah,
I didn't know you had your own TV station.
Yeah, remember I used to do a lot of videos of my own, things.
You mean on YouTube?
On YouTube, that's the one, yeah.
You don't mean the failed TV channel?
No, nothing to do with the failed TV channel.
No, just checking.
These are called Mike Porky Parry. It's, for instance, the one of me leaping over the post box is one of those, right?
It is one of those, yes, but it's kind of a basic thing, that, isn't it? And it's also very badly edited. So
no, not at all.
So it's very clear that you didn't actually do it.
Anyway, on there you will find me in a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? A sort of short sketch of about 4 minutes with Michelle Collins.
Michelle Collins?
Yeah, Michelle Collins.
Why are you bigging this up now? Because this is what's happening now. You're starting to branch out on your own now, aren't you? Yes, you are.
No.
After years of being nurtured back into the fold, after becoming a success, finally, with the Two Mics, you're now becoming, you're becoming sort of, drifting apart.
No, there's method in my madness.
Is there?
Now, this was all organised by my very good friend, the other famous actress, Jenny Seagrove, okay?
Jenny Seagrove, yes.
And Jenny Seagrove was having a sort of day of what they call, like, pampering for women.
Pampering for women?
Yeah, to raise funds.
Do you mean a spa day?
A spa day, that's what it's called, a spa day, to raise funds for her wonderful horse charity, that's right,
which you also support, right?
Main Chance, which I do support, with monthly donations.
Is that what it's called, Main Chance?
Main Chance, okay. yeah. And in fact, the money that we accumulate on the charity bets that we do with a certain betting company, right?
Well, the bets that you do,
will all go down
Not the bets that I do.
To Main Chance. Yeah. Now, the point is, it was a very funny little sketch about me wanting to break into the world of acting and all this kind of stuff, and she basically, slapped me down. And
you
said,
and Michelle Collins.
Yeah, me and Michelle Collins, you're a dwarf. Now then, I thought she was a lovely lady. And
she's a nice woman, isn't she?
Very nice woman. She's been a star in EastEnders, but also she became a big star in Coronation Street. Now, she is obviously a girl from a sort of working class background, and she makes the point, and I have to go along with this very much indeed. She says, why is it that so many actors in the modern day theatre and television, the guys who get all the best parts in particular, and some of the ladies as well, are all Silver Spoon actors?
Silver Spoon?
She's saying they're all coming from very, distinguished backgrounds, wealthy backgrounds.
This is kind of a new thing, though, isn't it?
Public school backgrounds.
This is Benedict Cumberbatch and all that crowd.
Oxford and Cambridge backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, you know. And, the ones she's citing are people like Tom Hiddleston, Damien Lewis, Eddie Redmayne, Cumberbatch, as you've said.
Yeah.
And she, in fact, was born in the East End, so it was quite fitting that she starred in the East End.
But is that not sort of a phenomenon like for example, when a particular genre of film does well?
Yes.
Then suddenly Hollywood want to just keep making films like that because they think that's the way forward. And if Eddie Redmayne gets another part and does well and wins another Oscar, they want to find another actor like Eddie Redmayne, so they go back to the place where he came from and sort of pluck somebody else out.
But what she's saying is that for every one of those that's brought into the industry, you are then closing the door on a kid who has literally won a scholarship to some acting school or something like that.
But are you really?
Or into it's some rep theatre.
I mean, she'll know more about it than I do.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's saying that she's saying this because there's a Commons inquiry taking place today into accessing the TV and film industry. She said, we need to help young people from less well-off backgrounds, or we'll only have one type in the TV world. That will be the privileged silver spoon types, of which there are too many at the moment. She's saying if you're connected, you get an internship, a traineeship or something similar. But if you're just a working-class kid... You've got no chance.
But isn't the problem at the moment not so much?
I'm a meritocrat.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're a snob.
No,
you hate the working class. You just pretend that you like them. You sit at Wetherspoons on your own at a table, and you've basically put the boards up to say, I don't want any of you horrible, great unwashed sitting anywhere near me.
That is very.
You are not interested in any way, shape, or form in helping those less fortunate than yourself.
I am, and
you're happy to give them out of date beer if they're down and out. You're happy to sort of throw money at them, buy them cigarettes, give them fish and chips as you walk out of a pub one night. But you don't actually want to help them.
I went to a grammar school, which is the finest form of sort of spreading democracy throughout a society.
I don't disagree with that.
In the grammar school I was in, there were kids there from bus drivers' families, and there were kids there from, people who, one of the guys was, his father was chairman of Cunard Shipping.
I don't disagree with grammar schools.
I think I went to meritocracy.
I went to a grammar school as well, but there's nothing else about your life which suggests that you're into meritocracy, really.
I think she's absolutely right. Now,
isn't the more important question the fact that it's not so much that people from working class backgrounds can't get into television.
Yes.
It's that everybody who is in television are the only people that can ever do anything on television. Like when they get a new show on ITV or BBC, it's always got the same people in it.
Yeah, it has actually.
It's David Walliams, it's Ant and Dec, it's
Ant and Dec are very good. So
Mel and Sue,
and they've proved themselves. Yeah, well, Mel and Sue have just turned down that nightly programme at 10 o'clock.
They have.
What's it called? The nightly programme?
It's called the Nightly Show or something like that.
Yeah, Nightly Show. That's right. They've turned that down. It's turned out to be a disaster.
Dermot, what's his name's in it now? Isn't he from the X Factor?
Go on, tell me, Dermot. Somebody.
The guy who does the X Factor.
Yeah.
Or Britain's Got Talent, or whichever one of those two it is.
I don't know his surname, but he's later taken it on. But some people have turned it down because they think it's such a turkey.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right.
The Great British Bake Off, they're using the guy Noel Fielding, who's already on 2 other panel shows.
Yeah.
They're going to use who else have they got for Mary Berry's show for the Bake Off?
They've got Sandy Toksvig.
Sandy Toksvig, that's right. She's already doing it.
And some guy nobody's ever heard of who dresses up in tart
Noel Fielding.
Coats.
He was in The Mighty Boosh, which was actually very funny.
Really, yeah.
But he's now on loads of other things.
Is he? Yeah.
So they just pick the same people. Well, Stephen Fry.
Yeah, Stephen
about
Fry.
4 different. I switched on a TV show the other afternoon, and Pointless. The guy, the number 2 guy on Pointless, has now got his own quiz show, which is called something else.
Oh, is it? Right. Michael somebody, is it?
Richard Osman, yeah.
Richard Osman's the guy with the big tall guy with the glasses.
Big tall guy,
but the other fellow who stands there is...
No, Alex Alexander, isn't it?
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's supposed to be a comedian.
Do you know anybody's name?
No. Now, listen, the other group...
My point is that he's now got his own show, so they now, the 2 guys have got 2 different quiz shows.
You know, they're talking about making a rerun of Blind Date, and guess who's going to be the host on that?
Are they?
Silla's old mate.
Who?
The guy who used to be...
Dale Winton?
No. Like him, but the guy...
What do you mean, like him?
Well, his same sort of profile. He was the guy who used to be like the woman comedian, the loudmouth Scouse woman comedian.
Hey? Lily Savage?
Yeah, that's right. Whoever that
was.
O'Grady. Paul O'Grady.
Well, as Paul O'Grady or as Lily Savage?
As Paul O'Grady.
I see.
To do...
Well, he's another one that gets loads of shows.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Now, listen, the other group of people I want to talk to you about are...
is that it for that, then?
Yeah, it is, because I want to move on to...
So you're done with helping the working classes into television, then?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go, do you think?
I think it will have an impact on their lives.
Okay.
Now, the other one that I'm fed up with are Cornish people, right?
Why?
Cornish is one of the world's least spoken languages.
Cornwall is part of this great land of ours, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful that you don't want to encourage people who are from Cornwall to annex themselves away from the rest of the country.
Well, they won't, and they shouldn't, unless some nutter gives them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But it's hardly going to help. the feelings between the Cornish and the rest of the country if you depict them as nutters.
There are only 500 people on Earth who speak Cornish fluently. Okay?
500?
Yeah.
Is this the same as your estimate of North American Indians? Because that was wrong.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
There are 18 million
There's
Native
5 million
Americans.
minimum Native Americans living in North America. I've got the figures.
But you're talking about all sorts of diversions into the pure native North American originator. Let me just get on to the Cornish.
Native North American originator.
Yeah, that's right. What they're saying is, they're saying that...
apparently we've got some clip of you speaking Cornish.
Oh, maybe you have, yeah. They're going to cut £150,000 a year from the supportive budget that supports the Cornish language.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's great. Well done, good. Because it'll yeah. I mean,
how much is spent totally?
Well, quite a lot.
As a percentage, how much is that?
Quite a lot.
You don't know, do you?
No, I don't know, but I'm telling you it's quite a lot. Now, what I'm saying is,
how do you know?
Why should we spend public money on funding the Cornish cultural events and festivals such as St. Piran's Day, which is on March the 5th?
Okay.
Which is the national...
We just missed it then.
Yeah, the National Day of Cornwall.
National Day of Cornwall? Well,
Yeah.
St. Piran is either the patron saint of Cornwall.
Yeah, he is, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Is it a man or a woman?
It's a man. Cornwall only has a minimal profile in the mainstream of this country's life, and the idea of pumping in 150 grand a year towards protecting the national minority is rubbish.
Well, it might be rubbish to you, but there's all sorts of things that get funding from central government. I mean, the City of Culture argument we had many, many months ago for quite a long time, where Hull got given a bunch of money to become the City of Culture for 2017.
Yes.
Right? It's the same kind of thing, isn't it?
UNESCO say that the Cornish language is no longer extinct, but it's critically endangered.
Right.
That means hardly anybody speaks it.
That
so
does.
Look, if a load of people...
But you can save a language without having to spend a bucket load of money.
I think the people of Cornwall moan and whinge too much.
How many people in Cornwall do you know?
Well, quite a few. If I go there and stay at St Ives, then I see a lot of them, don't I?
Yeah, but when was the last time you did that?
About 5 years ago.
Long time ago.
Well, no, what I'm saying is...
I've seen the time, by the way.
What I'm saying is, if a load of people who speak Cornish want to get together in a room and talk to each other in Cornish and drink a load of, flat cider, why don't they just get on with it and pay for it themselves? Why do they expect me, as a taxpayer of Great Britain, who funds things like, the health service and schools and all that, why should I have to spend some of my taxpayers' money?
Because you like helping people who are less fortunate than yourself.
A bunch of weirdos sitting in rooms across Cornwall drinking flat cider and talking, iggy wiggy ooga wiggy or whatever Cornish sounds like.
I don't think it sounds like that. Well,
whatever it sounds like.
We will play some of it very shortly, though, so that we can have a listen. Thank you very much. I
think it's a scandal.
This is Talk Sport.
Anna Yilta Havenda Hesha. Can't you understand me?
No.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Madness, they call it madness. Madness, they call it madness. I'm about to explain.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. If you go to Facebook, you should be able to have a rerun of that Periscope little film there, which we made. We just did a little live thingy, which was quite interesting. I've got a question here from Kiwi, who says, what about Tom Hardy? What's his background? Doubt he comes from a pampered past.
Who's Tom Hardy?
What do you mean, who's Tom Hardy?
Is he Taboo?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know about his background. He didn't look as though he came from a great background.
He was a model, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah.
When he was in Peaky Blinders. By the way, they started filming the new series.
So I understand.
But somebody told me, they're filming the 4th series. I think the 4th series is already filmed and in the can.
No.
And I think they're filming the 5th series.
No, I think it's the 4th.
I think the 3rd and 4th are filmed at the same time, and we've seen the 3rd, and I think the 4th is going to be released next.
Well, then why wouldn't they have released it already, if that was the case?
I think it's going to be released this autumn.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you would have expected it to be released in February, and I think it got somehow delayed in the filming, and that's why it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, but if they're only starting to make a new Peaky Blinders series now, it won't be ready for the autumn, so it must already be in the can, the one that's coming out in autumn. Seriously.
No, I think they're filming it now. I think that's the point.
You couldn't have it ready by autumn. That would be for spring of next year.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah.
He was born in Hammersmith, apparently, in 1977.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't say yet what his antecedents are. Let's see. Earlier, he was the only child of an artist and a painter of Irish descent. And another a novelist and comedy writer. He was raised in East Sheen.
East Sheen.
Which doesn't sound particularly poverty-stricken, does
it? Who else came from East Sheen?
East Sheen is quite a nice part of the world.
Remember the...
Barnes, that sort of area.
Remember the tragic comic who died of depression?
Tony Hancock.
Yes, he came from East Sheen.
Did he?
Yeah. He
was raised in East Sheen. He studied at Tower House School, Reed School and Duff Miller Sixth Form College. He later studied at the Richmond Drama School.
Sounds like a duffer.
No, sounds like somebody who was raised in a very middle-class way.
Yeah,
to me.
Totally agree.
So
now, let me tell you this. Johnny Rep, who is a regular communicator, says, I have to stick up for old Porky. He never said to MG that the Masters starts this week. He said it starts 2 weeks tomorrow, and he's absolutely right. 1-0 to Porky.
You said, what are you talking about?
I'm reading this out. This is what he heard.
Yeah, it's not what he... It doesn't matter what he heard. You said the Masters starts next week.
Oh, no,
and I said, I don't think it does.
I asked the question, that was all.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're still doing the Masters quiz, so we'll find out how much you know about it.
Yes.
David says, what does Michelle Collins want? More Ray Winstons playing themselves?
Well, Ray Winston's a very fine actor in my view and has played himself brilliantly in an awful lot of productions to which he was well suited.
You know what I think the problem in this country is that we are totally and utterly obsessed with class.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And as soon you are, of course you are. You spent your entire life trying to better yourself in your eyes.
Yeah.
So making out that you went to a good school, making out that you went to Oxford University, making out that, everything you did was the best because you think that by being upper class, you're going to be taken more seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong.
No,
I think you should talk to everybody the same way. You should treat everybody the same. And we shouldn't have a class system at all in this country.
I claim to be a man of the people, and that's what I am.
No, but you're not a man of the people. You're a snob.
Well, this is interesting. Strictly Come Dancing, right? Which, there's a story knocking around tonight that Roy Hodgson turned it down.
So really? Apparently he says,
yeah. Exactly, yeah. It says that Strictly Come Dancing is a show for people who failed in their first profession. So when is old Porky getting signed up? That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Well, also, a couple of people... You're going all the way back to the start of the show before you're reading tweets, by the way.
No, I'm not.
Why have you gone so far back?
No, I haven't gone that far back.
That's how far back you've got to go to find any which are in support of you. Well, some of them are also saying that you should try and explain that to Darren Gough, who, of course, of this parish, very famously won Strictly Come Dancing.
Yes.
And you wouldn't want to describe him as a failure, would you?
Oh, not in any way. He's one of the world's most successful ever cricketers, so and a terrific broadcaster to boot.
So you'd have to take that back, really, wouldn't you?
Well, I didn't say it. I'm reading it out from somebody else who said it.
No, you said it during the handover with Andy and Jason.
What did I say?
You said that anybody who goes on Strictly Come Dancing is a massive loser who's failed at their first career.
I don't think I did say that.
Yes,
actually.
you did.
But there are exceptions, and Goffey's one of them. Now, old Wes here says, Hi, Porky, just ordered 6 cards of your scratchings from my country pub in North Essex. How should I pitch them to the punters? Well, to be honest, Wes, I think you just simply stick the cards up on the wall. People see thy fantastic visage, staring out at them with the authority and the guile that I show in my facial structure, and they'll just keep buying them. Don't worry about that.
And they're selling quite well, aren't they?
Selling very well indeed.
I did have a glimpse at your movie that you made, I have to say, and you do look like a man possessed in the first part of the movie.
Yes.
Where you're running around the factory,
showing
everybody round.
Yeah, well, you've got to, haven't you? Because that's where it all starts, mate. Where it all ends, we don't know, but that's where it all starts. Right, now then, old, what's this guy's name? Don't know, Cos. And he says, good news, the 2 Mike's starting a new job next week, driving wagons, permanent night, so no longer wishing for 2 Mike's to get permanent 10 a.m. slot. I'm awfully sorry, Cos, but next week we are on the 10 a.m. slot, not the late slot.
We are indeed.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll catch us in the 10 till 1 mid-morning slot.
Yes.
Where we feel very comfortable, and we take it from there.
Well, indeed. Anthony says this, what would Porky do to change the honours system in order to ensure it re-establishes its credibility post-Beckham? Well, what you're going to do with the honours system, I'm sorry you're not asking me this question, is do away with it completely. Because that only sort of perpetuates the class system.
I think the honour system is great.
Why is it great?
I think people who spent 45 years helping children across the road in some little village in sort of Suffolk deserve an OBE or an MBE for service to the local community.
No, it's a load of old cobblers.
I do.
All it does is perpetuate a class system because it tells people, if I've got letters after my name, I must be better than you. I don't think it's necessary.
Chris here says, tuning in from Qatar, lads. Love the show. Wish there was a Wetherspoons here, Mike. Instead, it's £9 a pint.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Even I would balk at paying £9 a pint, mate. Still, I suppose it's supply and demand, isn't it?
You wouldn't balk at it if there was any place there.
Yeah, no.
Somebody actually sent me a picture earlier of a Wetherspoons inside Doncaster Airport.
Oh,
you ever
really?
been to Doncaster Airport?
Doncaster Airport? No, I haven't, no. Is that Robin Hood Airport?
It might be.
Yeah, no.
It might be. I don't know. The only reason I say it is because apparently...
I didn't know Doncaster even had an airport.
Well, it does.
I thought it was Leeds Bradford was the nearest one round
Well,
there.
apparently there is one there.
Is there?
I'm pretty sure that's what the picture caption said. But anyway, there's a Wetherspoons inside it, and some guy is going around visiting every Wetherspoons in the country.
Is he?
And so he bought himself an airline because it's on the air side.
Yeah.
So you have to actually have a ticket to go through.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So in order for him to actually go and drink there,
he
had to get himself a ticket to fly somewhere.
Right.
So you could chalk it off.
Okay. I found, actually, after a number of years of using Lime Street Station and having to go up a flight of stairs to a bar upstairs, which only served beer out of the cold plastic taps, you know what I mean?
What do you mean cold plastic taps? What do you mean the sort of the chemical taps?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And John Smith's Extra Cold,
yeah,
which gives me hiccups. I can't stand really cold beer. I don't like cold beer.
Right.
And I always thought, God, you're right in Liverpool and this is your own...
What would the Liverpool local brew be then?
I'm not sure if Higson's is still going or not. I don't know.
Right.
Higson's used to be the beer many, many years ago when I was a kid and used to go to Goodison. I don't know whether it's still going. It's probably been merged into something else.
There'll be some microbrewery or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there are, yeah. And all the big breweries, cover Liverpool, obviously. But anyway, and I always used to like going there for a pint when I arrived, before I got in the taxi and went to Goodison.
Yeah.
And I always used to like going there having a beer when I left before I got on the train to travel home. Because you tend to drink wine on the train rather than beer.
Do
you
you?
know what I mean? Yeah.
Your life just revolves around drinking, doesn't it?
No, not really.
It does.
But anyway, I don't know why, but the last time I was there, I was wandering through Lime Street Station, and I suddenly thought, I've never been down to that end of the station for a long time. I wonder what's down there. And I found a Wetherspoons.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a huge one. And I don't know how long it's been there.
Right.
I mean, I hope it's only just opened, because if it hasn't, I've been missing it for 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Well, of course, the last time I was there with you, it was very early in the morning, so we weren't looking for that sort of
no, we certainly weren't. We were getting on the 5:30 train home.
Well, it was at 7 o'clock, I think.
7 o'clock. I think we got up at 5:30. At least I got up at 5:30.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And we got the 7 o'clock home. You're absolutely right, yes.
Absolutely right.
Right, good.
Now, there's plenty of interesting news coming in at this hour.
Yes,
and
there
just
is.
before we go off to Ask Porky, a story which is running on CNBC, which says the US military have saying that a North Korean missile appears to have exploded within seconds of being launched.
Oh, good.
And Anthony says North Korean missiles as made by Porky Parry.
Yeah, well, that sort of thing. No, it's good that North Korean missiles blow up just after they've been launched, because otherwise the crazed regime in Pyongyang could cause a bit of mischief around that part of the world.
And you certainly wouldn't want that.
No.
Now, coming up next is Ask Porky.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! You know I need someone. Help! When I was younger, so much younger than today.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. That music can only mean one thing. It does mean, of course, that it's time for Ask Porky, the one slot on radio anywhere in the world where you can get invaluable advice on a whole variety of different subject matters.
He can change your life.
He can change your life. He has done it before. It can be advice that you get on relationships. It can be advice on travel.
Indeed.
All number of things. I've got lots of really, really good questions, actually. So should we get straight to it?
Yes, please.
This is from Martin. We were talking about New York a little bit earlier on. He says this: Porky, I've been in New York for 14 years, but I'm now pining for the Sceptred Isle. Should I stay or should I go?
Should I stay or should I go? Well, I tell you what, I lived there for about 3 years in total, 3.5 years. MG, who's with me in the studio, lived there for 10. I would always have come home. I miss so many things about England. Coronation Street, English beer, English pubs, beans on toast, all that sort of stuff. I was always going to come home. Now, some guys have careers that kept them there, and it kept them there sometimes 2 decades. However, I would have come home, and I really believe that if you now have an urging to get back to your roots in Ireland, you should listen to what your roots are telling you, what your body's telling you, what your mind's telling you, and go back to your homeland.
OK. Here's one from Josh, who says, Porky, what should I do for my mum on Mother's Day? And Josh is in Brighton.
Yeah, OK. Well, it's a big question, that, Josh. If you don't see your mum very often, then you must see her on Mother's Day. if you do see your mum quite often, you must do something special for her on Mother's Day. There are plenty of places you can take your mother out on Mother's Day. Mother's Day's become a big industry, so make sure you book it ahead of going out. Take your mother to a nice cliff-top restaurant with the rest of the family. Doesn't have to be a one-on-one thing, Mother's Day. It should include the whole family. We can all pay homage to the most important person in our families. That's our mums. Make sure you do something special.
William says this: last October I bought a ticket to see the Stranglers this Friday in Brixton. I didn't know that my lot, the Republic of Ireland, would be playing Wales on the same night. What would you do, Mr. Parry?
I would definitely watch the football if you're a committed... Does it say which nationality this chap is?
Republic of Ireland.
Republic of Ireland. If you're a committed fan of your national team, you can't miss that game. It's crucial, vital, a qualifying game. And the Stranglers... 5 minutes and I'm almost there. Da, 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 da. 5 minutes and I'm almost there.
Is that the only Strangler song you think of?
No, it's the best one that I like.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say either put the Stranglers on hold, flog the ticket to somebody else, or do it another time, but don't miss your game.
Martin says this: can the Porkmeister give us 5 key leadership tips helping those of us out who are running small businesses?
If you're running a small business, you have to be incredibly hardworking, very determined. You have to think straight. You have to do it yourself and don't take too much notice of others. They can often give you bad influence on the decisions you make. And most of all, you must always get up off the floor again when something has knocked you down. Remember, success is just a collection of previous failures.
OK, here's one from Max. He says, Dear Porky, if I'm not mistaken, it is World Poetry Day. Would you offer up your favourite? My personal favourite is the Lessons of the Moth. I'm not sure about that.
I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of dancing daffodils. Along the lake, beneath the trees, they fluttered gaily in the breeze.
Very nice. Well done. Here's one from Josh, a different Josh. He says, will Nottingham Forest stay up this season?
Nottingham Forest will probably stay up, but quite frankly, they are such a nutty club these days. They've lost all the affection of other football fans who don't really care whether they stay up or not. I'm in that category because the people who run Nottingham Forest have made it such a circus. They've really exited themselves from what we call the respectable football family.
Carl says this: if you were asked to name each other's autobiographies, what would you call them? So I guess what would you call mine?
MG.
That's it.
I would call MG's MG because I think that's very distinctive. 2 big initials on the front, MG, with a pair of big black glasses across the top, if you see what I mean, sort of sitting on top of the MG, which would be very distinctive. And if it was mine, it would have to be called the Porkmeister.
OK, well, here's another one similarly quizzical about the funeral. The Verminator says 3 records at my funeral would be Somewhere Only We Know by Keane, Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits, and Through the Barricades. I'm not sure who that's by. What will your 3 be, Porky?
Yeah, I hate to talk about it, really. It's very maudlin, isn't it? But I would definitely want to enter and leave the church, or at least my coffee would, to Z-Cars, the theme, because, of course, that has been my lifelong association and support of Everton Football Club. There would have to be a Beatles classic, and it would probably be Strawberry Fields Forever. And the third one, to make it sort of more like a funeral and a hymn, would be the hymn, hang on, oh my God, it's the football hymn at
Abide
Wembley.
With Me.
Abide With Me, thank you very much.
Yes, OK. Now, here's one from Stuart, and you might have to think about the answer you give towards the end of this one, because you may want to give something away. Dear Porky says, what are your views on courgette or cauliflower pizza bases? Is this just wrong? And also, without dragging your answer out for too long, who do you think is the guilty person in Broadchurch?
OK, good question. I don't give a fig about courgette or whatever it is, pizza bases. I love pizza the way traditional pizza happens. I read recently that Domino's are suffering a slump in sales because people are becoming not fed up with pizza, but there are lots of alternatives in takeaway food these days. I will stick to pizza, thank you, with a nice doughy base. As for who is the guilty person in Broadchurch, well, I'm right up to date on Broadchurch, as you will find out in the Porky Vision feature tomorrow night, and I'm not going to give away the clues that I've picked up along the way.
OK, now a picture here from Harry who sent this in, and it's a picture of a railway station called Ferriby. I don't know if that means anything to you. He says, why, oh why do I support Tranmere? Is the question.
I do not know that railway station, to be honest. I travel sometimes from Chester to Liverpool on the train when I'm staying in Chester at the Grosvenor Hotel, and I go to Goodison, which I enjoy enormously because it's back to my hometown, but then over to Goodison like I used to as a kid. and we go up through stations like Capenhurst, Bromborough, Port Sunlight, and I don't know this Ferriby station. So it's obviously very local to Tranmere, and it's clearly a local station in Birkenhead. All I can say is Tranmere get a huge amount of support, considering they're a non-league team. They're in the Vanarama National, 6,000 and 7,000 crowds, and they're a fine team to support. Keep supporting them.
Scott says this: Dear Porky, is that pathetic politician Gideon Osborne taking on a newspaper editor's role, dumbing down the position?
He's actually dumbing down journalism and newspapers, because it's ridiculous that a man who has not a single qualification in any profession, including journalism, should suddenly be appointed to one of the plum jobs within that particular business. It's ludicrous, it's ridiculous, and there should be a law against it, because he can only damage society by his ignorance in the profession he's in.
Jonathan says this: if you were ever jailed for your rat-like cunning deceits, how would you cope in prison?
I'd cope very well. Because I'm smarter than the average bear, I would use my brains and my ability to manage and get on with people to become very popular in prison by providing services other people had a need for. I would also make sure that I helped those who couldn't help themselves.
Here's one from Harley. He says, hey, Mike, serious problem I've got at the moment. I'm currently saving for a bladderation expedition in June throughout Europe. However, I'm saving every penny at the moment for my travels, but I'm just wondering if I should treat myself now with the purchase of a packet of your Porky scratchings.
I would say definitely. I mean, no, all jokes aside, I've had people taste the Porky scratchings to find out whether the product we produce is any good, and it's had very, very good reports that they are very porky in the sense of the flavour of them, and that they are not as sometimes harsh on the teeth as Porky scratchings can be, and that in fact they are delicious to eat and very comfortable on the masticating process.
Here's one from Ali. Can you please give us a 1-minute potted history of sprouts? I love them. Are they actually from the Belgian capital?
Well, some of them are, but most of them are from the fields of England. Sprouts are very nutritious. They're full of iron. They are in appearance like a mini cabbage, but they are deliciously buttery and melt in your mouth more than cabbages. I like them very much indeed. Would always include them in my roast dinner recipe.
Andrew says this from the City of Culture. Porky, we have replaced the blade in Hull with a weeping poppies display. What would you choose as a piece of art displayed in Hull town centre?
Well, I don't know Hull very well. I've been there once or twice, I think, when I went to do a story about a fishing boat that had been arrested in suspicion of being a Russian spy ship many years ago. All I would say is every city has its finer points and its lesser points. Hull, I'm sure, is a fine city in the middle of it, as it is so associated with the fishing industry. Why don't you rescue an old trawler from the harbour there, spruce it up and put it on a big podium stand in the middle of the square in the town?
Here's one from Will. Dear Porky, who will win on the main event of WrestleMania?
I don't know, because I don't follow WrestleMania.
Really?
But I would say that my maxim for life is, may the best man win, and if you're not winning, it's because you're not trying hard enough.
Chris says this is a bit political. What's your opinion on Article 50 and the possible Scottish independence referendum? Can the Scots go it alone?
Well, if I was a Scotsman, I'd be very frightened about Scotland becoming an independent country because of the size of the country is small, the small number of people there, the oil industry, which was once used as a backdrop to an independent Scotland, is no longer the economic force it was. I'd be terrified if I was a Scotsman and somebody told me, oh, we're going to be an independent country, independent of the UK and outside of the EU because they won't let us in as we used to be part of another country. I personally would run a million miles from it, but the Scottish people have to decide for themselves.
Danny says, my girlfriend watches trash TV, Sex on the Beach being the worst example. What can I do to wean her off this crap?
Well, I don't think you need to, and I don't think you should call it crap. The point is that a lot of people can de-stress themselves and wind down and, bring a bit of relief into their life by watching mushy TV. For instance, I today noticed that they've started a rerun of the Sweeney series right from episode 1.
Oh, really?
And I found it illuminating and entertaining, and I'm a big fan of it.
That's not trash TV, that's great TV.
Yeah, OK, well, that's great. But, I mean, this young lady might regard Sex on the Beach, which I've never seen, by the way, as, as similarly soothing for her.
I think it's pretty awful. Marcus says this, I fell for a girl with a boyfriend and now she can't decide. Should I fight to the end or be nice and give up?
No, never give up. If you really want to strike a deal in your heart with this young lady, you've got to tell her how much you want to do that. and then you've got to face the consequences of this chap being, put out, as he certainly will be, for stealing his girl. But, I mean, fortune favours the brave, pal. You get in there and you do it.
Here's one from Wrong Star. Porky, why do you always have your phone in your shirt pocket with the camera pointing forwards?
I'm not aware the camera points forward. My view of life is that I will not buy shirts anymore without a pocket, a breast pocket, so to speak, because otherwise you lose your phone. And as for where the camera is, I think I'm of the opinion that the open screen on the front needs to be really against the shirt so it doesn't scratch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's one from Davey. He says, Porky, I'm on a diet, but I just ate 4 chocolate eclairs. Should I tell the wife or keep quiet as we are both dieting?
I think that's. I think your self-loathing will do you in there, because honestly, I've no objection to somebody having a chocolate eclair occasionally, but they're very full of cream and chocolate and what to call that pastry, like
choux pastry.
Yeah, choux pastry and all that. And to eat 4 is an act of excessive greed. I hope you make yourself ill on it, because that's for me the act of a repulsive individual. I tonight had half a packet of white Milky Way buttons, but that's all I had, and then put them back in the fridge.
Stuart says this: I want to fly a helicopter, but just don't know how to.
Yeah.
Should I take lessons or just lie and tell people I can fly one anyway?
Get down to Red Hill Airport or your nearest airport, wherever you live, and go and see the guys in charge of the private part of the airfield. Tell them you want helicopter lessons. It's easy, but they're expensive.
Excellent stuff. Well,
yes.
That is all we've got time for, I'm afraid.
Right.
And we've got lots more questions that we weren't able to get to, but they will be added into a pile, which might be selected, if you're lucky, next week. But lots more to come. This is TalkSport.
Won't you please help me, help me, help me.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Baby, you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go through it all again, you better catch your own train.
Dr. Lol says, great Ask Porky. Actually, some good advice on moving back from the US to home and going for the girl you want.
Yeah.
He says he's listening in Michigan.
Yeah, good. Okay,
now,
mate.
somebody else points out that Ferriby is not a local to Tranmere, I don't think. They played tonight, he says, and Tranmere beat them.
Oh, who? Ferriby?
Ferriby, yeah. I don't know where that is, though.
Okay, that's somewhere in the northwest, I think. Yeah, I have to admit, I didn't know where it was, so I just guessed because somebody put it on a caption with Tranmere.
And also, Leon and David point out that Through the Barricades was a song by Spandau Ballet.
Spandau Ballet.
You wouldn't have a Spandau Ballet song at your funeral, would you?
No, I certainly wouldn't. No.
And David also points out that there's only 2 members left of the Stranglers, so definitely go to the football.
Is there? Well, who are they then?
Well, Hugh Cornwell, I guess, is probably still around.
Yeah, and then who was the singer? Johnny Rotten?
Well, no, Hugh Cornwell was the singer.
Oh, Stranglers.
The Stranglers, yeah. Johnny Rotten was in the Sex Pistols.
In the Sex Pistols, that's right, yeah. Now, listen, I've got some rather sad news.
Have you?
Have you ever been a big fan of Inspector Morse?
No, I haven't, actually. I didn't like Inspector Morse, but I quite liked Lewis.
Yeah, I like Lewis. I thought Lewis brought... You're
going to tell me that the creator of the characters has died,
absolutely, yeah. Colin... what's his name? Colin Dixon.
Colin Dixon?
What's his name?
I think it's Colin Dixon.
Yeah, I've got it here.
You'll have it there.
Colin Dexter.
Yeah. It's another beautiful tribute.
Yeah, exactly,
coming up.
No, I mean, I thought that he pitched the character Morse as a really wishy-washy, liberal, which coppers, generally speaking, aren't, sort of, red wine drinking, real ale, 1 pint only of drinking.
Well, he made him into a rather cultured individual, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right, driving a vintage Jaguar and sitting at home with a glass of red and reading a classic novel instead of getting out on the... But
it was a very successful show, though.
On the booze, like Jack Regan.
Yeah, but it was a very successul show.
Yeah, I agree.
And bizarrely, you mentioned Jack Regan there. It was played by the same actor, wasn't it?
Of course it was, yeah. John Thor. But anyway, look, he suddenly died at the age of 86, which is very sad, obviously. And as you quite rightly say, it all came from the books he wrote.
Yes.
Last Bus to Woodstock, was the first Inspector Morse mystery, and somebody in TV picked all this up and said, wow, this would make a great TV series. And despite the fact that you and I both think that the Morse character was incomplete, it was very successful.
It was, yeah. I mean, I've tried watching it, but it just doesn't do it for me somehow. Whereas Lewis, I could watch that, and it was the stories were quite good, but I found Morse very irritating. I think maybe a lot of people did. And the whole kind of Oxford thing was a bit of a snob escapade for me as well.
The thing is, you're absolutely right. In the sequel, which was Lewis, there were things about that which I really loved. I loved the setting in Oxford because I do love the academia sort of world and those cloisters of the universities.
Yeah, see, I don't particularly.
I do. And I'm fascinated by people who live in the world of academia as well, because these guys are so cut off from the rest of the world. They live in their own little bubble, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Some of these guys never go out of the set of rooms that they live in. It's the dean of the cathedral, of the university.
And they're treated very, very well.
Treated brilliantly on the taxpayers' money. I'd also love to, I really would love to, experience the sort of, or know more about the lifestyle of a young university lecturer at a great university and the relationship he has with his students. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
I mean, I certainly when I went to the University of the Trent, sometimes you would find you were in the same pub as a lecturer aged about 25 or 26.
Right.
So he's about 5 or 6 years older than you, and he's at the end of the bar and he's K-lied, you know what I mean?
K-lied?
Or...
What's K-lied?
Inebriated.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Where's that from?
I don't know. It's a word I've used all my life.
K-lied?
K-lied, yeah.
Why have I never heard that then?
I don't know.
I've never heard you say it.
No, perhaps not. Or chasing female students without any sort of fear of, doing the wrong
from
thing.
The obvious ethical question.
Yes.
There's no rule against it. They're not underage or anything, are they?
No, of course they're not
They're all
underage.
grown-ups.
No.
They can do what they like.
Yeah. Here, this is what you and I didn't like about Morse, okay? A man portrayed as a Times reader, being his regular newspaper.
Yes. Nothing wrong with that.
Concentrating on reading the letters pages and the bridge column and dashing off the crossword with ridiculous ease, okay?
Yes.
Morse also enjoyed the music of Wagner and the paintings of Vermeer, the writings of Dickens and the taste of real ale. So, all of that together is to me, not a policeman.
No.
It is a fussy sort of colonel type who lives in a village in Oxfordshire.
I suppose you're meant to suspend your disbelief. I mean, there's a lot of stories like that. I mean, Waking the Dead is similarly kind of outlandish, isn't it, in terms of...
I don't know, I've never seen it.
You've never seen Trevor Eve in Waking the Dead?
No.
That's a good show, actually.
Is it?
If you like that kind of thing.
Right, okay.
They're sort of forensic criminologists, basically. So they look into ancient murders and things that might have happened many, many years before.
I see, yeah.
So they'll suddenly find a body as a building's being, the foundations for a new building are being dug up.
Sounds quite boring. That.
And they'll find... What do you mean boring?
Well, things that happened 20 or 30 years ago.
Well, why would they be boring?
Yeah.
Well, Morse happened 20 or 30 years ago.
Well, okay, but listen, we were going to talk about the successor to Morse, right? That was Lewis. Now, what I liked about Lewis were a number of things. Firstly...
You sure you're not overstepping the Porky Vision mark here?
What do you mean?
Well, you're going to be Porky Vision tomorrow.
No, I won't be doing Porky Vision tomorrow. I liked the fact that his sidekick, who was the sergeant, was a great, great character.
Yeah, he was one of the Fox people, wasn't he?
He was. He was... which Fox was he? He was married to Billy Piper. They're not married anymore.
No.
And I've forgotten his first name now, but he's very, very good.
Was he not Amelia Fox's brother or something?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I think you're right. But he also he portrayed a character in Lewis as a Cambridge graduate working in Oxford.
Yes,
a man who rode in the boat race and then went off to college to become a priest, but then gave it up and became a policeman.
Yeah.
And his name was Hathaway.
So that was a sort of
Sergeant
reverse.
Hathaway.
That was a sort of reverse Morse, wasn't it?
It was.
The guy in charge was the more likely police officer.
Yeah.
And his second in command was the less likely.
You're absolutely right.
Rather than the other way around.
You're absolutely right.
Now, I've got this for you from Peter.
Yes.
Who says, "Hi, chaps. I'm best man this weekend for my brother, who is one of your biggest fans. So if Boy could mention on air, good luck to my brother, whose name is Lee Walker, and his bride, Kirsten Conroy, who are getting married in Hampton Court." You'll like that.
Lee and Kirsten.
Lee and Kirsten, yeah.
Married in Hampton Court.
Yeah, Stockbroker Belt, Surrey.
That's fantastic.
This Saturday.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Says, keep up the good work.
Now, can I tell you that I went to a wedding round there, although it didn't happen in Hampton Court, it happened in a church very nearby.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was the daughter of John Jinks, I've told you about, my mate, who lived in East Molesey, which is literally a couple of miles from Hampton Court.
Yes.
And she was married in a church, but he rented the hotel opposite Hampton Court on the banks of the River Thames for the reception.
Very nice.
So I wonder whether the reception for this wedding will happen there as well.
It might be, yeah.
It's a little sort of boutique-type hotel. You know, we took over the whole hotel for the whole day, and it was rather wonderful. And in fact, some special guests arrived on boats at the hotel before the ceremony.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's very nice. That reminds me of when we went racing at Windsor.
Oh,
which we should do again, shouldn't we?
We must do this
Maybe
summer.
in the summer we should try and do that.
We must do, definitely, yeah.
I did very well that time, do you remember?
You did, yeah, you did very well indeed.
You couldn't believe it, could you?
No, I couldn't believe it.
But if we do it this year, can you try and organise the transport leaving slightly better than last time? Because when we were staggering around in the middle of Windsor looking for a cab, I seem to remember, to get back to the station.
Oh, yes, I suppose we were, yeah.
Because you hadn't organised transport.
No, in the end, I got a cab all the way home, I remember, I had to.
No, what, did you?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I remember going home on the train back into Paddington.
Not with me.
No? I must have shaken you off by then.
Yeah, I think you had,
But it was generally shambolic state of affairs.
It was pretty shambolic. I put that down to our producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not a producer anymore.
No, exactly, yeah.
Much more powerful than that.
Oh, yeah, yes, I see what you mean, yeah.
A lot of people are concerned about the services you're going to be offering in prison. We can't really read many of those out, to be honest.
No.
Somebody's also put down where Ferriby is. It's over towards Grimsby Way.
Oh, Grimsby. That's a long way then from Merseyside.
2 hours, 19 minutes, it says, by car.
Thank you. So it's not the local station to Tranmere Rovers. Thank you very much for pointing that out to me.
North Ferriby United.
North Ferriby United, right.
So you learn a lot with this show.
You learn a lot. If you looked at the Times obituary pages tomorrow, which are definitely pages of record... Then
when you say tomorrow, do you mean Wednesday's paper?
Sorry, I mean Wednesday. I mean today.
Because I've got a Times here.
Yeah. You'll see in the obituary pages, Colin Dexter, teacher and author, famous for creating Inspector Morse, the Oxford detective, with a liking for real ale, Wagner and crosswords, shares the obituary space with Martin McGuinness, convicted irate terrorist who became Northern Ireland's Deputy First Minister after negotiating the peace process that led to the Good Friday Agreement. Doesn't that give you a complete panorama of life and the way it is?
And it's interesting you say that, because I wonder whether how many people or how many people's families would be concerned about who they share the page with.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously there's been some strange bedfellows over the years.
Of course there have, yeah.
Interesting stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll talk some more about McGuinness over the time. We've got lots more to do the rest of the week. We've got Porky Vision tomorrow, and of course the Porky Quiz as well. This is TalkSport.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the two mics. So he tapped on the window, right, to attract the attention of the humans in the room.
He tapped on the window?
Yes. They then looked at him. He then actually took it with that tentacle, went to the outflow water pipe, which you have in a tank to keep the water fresh, and flicked it in there and threw it away. Yeah.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah, absolutely certain. He looked at him in the eye.
He's only got one, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. But he looked him in the eye and said, "You've given me this bad squid, I'm going to throw it away," and threw it away. Okay? No, he did.
He did not throw it away.
He did. He stared at it.
Was in a war zone.
You're in a war zone, yeah.
You don't really go around trying to stitch up your colleagues in a war zone, because normally you're there.
Did anybody bomb you?
Did anybody bomb me? No, but there was quite a few bullets fired.
So you didn't get bombed then in a war zone?
People don't get bombed in war zones.
I did. I got bombed in Libya.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. It's a shame they bloody missed you.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM, and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station, with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
You know, when you hear a bit of the old, clattering of hooves, could it be Rumpy Pumpy on the run? Huh?
No more tea for you.